present before the court with his counsel, Mr. Shapiro, Mr. Cochran, Mr. Douglas, Mr. Bailey. People represented by Ms. Clark and Mr. Dart.
Do you have some preliminary matters?
Yes, we do. All right. Either counsel wish to be heard.
Yes, Your Honor, with respect to the issue that the court asked to address this morning.
One other matter before we get to that, Your Honor. Would the court assist us in the testimony of several witnesses? There's been mention of the homicide manual updated and also the LAPD manual. The court will recall at one time we had an LAPD manual here that was sent back. Would the court assist, I think, perhaps both sides, in getting a manual, both manuals here today if possible? The 94 editions. Is that a yes?
Done.
Okay. Thanks, Judge.
Your Honor, I would like to begin by extending my sincere apology, very sincere apology for being late this morning. I got on the freeway and didn't move for half an hour, but I left early thinking that would be enough time, but it unfortunately wasn't, and I do deeply apologize to the court for being late this morning. I don't know what else to say. With respect to the matter that the court wanted me to address this morning, first of all, as I indicated earlier, the statements are not relevant. First of all, in direct, the witness did not testify to any matters contained within the search warrant, nor any matters that would pertain to valid impeachment from that search warrant.
Excuse me, Your Honor. May I suggest that Detective be excused during this?
Yes. Detective Van Adder, would you step out and wait outside in the hallway, please?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Clark.
The issue here is really what relevance do these statements have? Under 352, they are clearly, it's going to be an undue consumption of time to admit them, number one thing, as a broad general issue. If the defense, because if the defense is permitted to go into this with respect to impeachment on the two matters that were indicated yesterday in chambers, then the people should be entitled properly to go into all of the matters in the affidavit that were correct. What we will wind up doing is essentially litigating the validity of the warrant in front of the jury. That the warrant and its averments are not properly before a jury, as is stated in 1538.5M. The sole purpose of litigating the validity of a search warrant is to determine whether or not it states probable cause. Probable cause determinations are not the province of the jury, they are the province of the judge. And the court has already made its ruling with respect to the validity of the search warrant. To the extent that the court deems it appropriate to allow the statements of the affidavit to be used as prior inconsistent statements, there is no inconsistency that it can be attached to. The trial testimony of Detective Van Adder is what we have to base the determination of prior inconsistency on. There have been no statements, there has been no foundation at this time, to this point, that would permit for the admission of the search warrant statements as prior inconsistent statements. Then in that case, the analysis has to be a People versus Wheeler, other bad act analysis, and whether or not these statements amount to acts of moral turpitude. We submit that there is no way that we could possibly state that they amount to that. And in fact, by virtue of the fact that the court itself found, number one, that even though these were misstatements, they were not material misstatements such that they would invalidate the warrant as a whole. That makes them the court in essence has made a determination that these are collateral matters, because the statement about the unexpected flight to Chicago and the human blood on the Bronco door are neither of them material misstatements. The court found reckless disregard with respect to those statements, but nevertheless found that the warrant was sufficient and did state probable cause. But never did the court find them to be material. That in itself indicates the collateral nature of this kind of impeachment. And that's really the essence and the focus of the people's argument here, is that we have counsel attempting to open his own door, which is not permitted, for the purpose of cross-examining on collateral matters. People versus Reyes, 62 Calap 3rd at 53 at page 62. People versus Taylor, 8 Cal 3rd, 174, and People versus Laverne, Lavergne, 4 Cal 3rd, 735, all of which indicate that a party may not cross-examine a witness on collateral matters for the purpose of eliciting something to be contradicted, which is what counsel in this case proposes to do. What is stated in the search warrant affidavit is relevant to what the witness is relevant to the validity of the search warrant.
But isn't what's likely to happen is Mr. Shapiro will ask Detective Van Adder, did you make any mistakes in that search warrant affidavit? And he'll probably say, yes, I did. I made 2 mistakes or 3 mistakes, X and Y and Z, and that'll be the end of it, won't it?
What?
I mean,
Well, no,
given
no, he may ask that. I would object as irrelevant.
Mhm.
What he puts in it, what is put into a search warrant affidavit is not relevant material for a jury to hear,
But
because
Detective Van Adder yesterday testified that he did take some notes, and he included in that definition the search warrant affidavit that day, if you recollect the testimony yesterday.
I recollect the testimony, but what I recollect is that that was Mr. Shapiro's characterization and not Detective Van Adder's. And we can go back to that portion of the transcript, but as I recall, Detective Van Adder resisted that definition because it really did not comport with what his definition of notes were. And Mr. Shapiro kept insisting that it was part of his notes, but that was his characterization, not Detective Van Adder's. I don't think it was ever adopted by him. It was part of the things that he wrote in this case, you know, of the many writings that he's done in this case with the chronological log, etc. But I do not recall the witness adopting that definition. Those were words put in his mouth by Mr. Shapiro.
Let me ask you another question about the strongest argument that you raise is the collateral nature of the impeachment or the evidence. Let's not even call it impeachment at this point. You indicate that then that would require you to go through the affidavit and show everything that was correct.
Right.
To rebolster Detective Van Adder's testimony. Do you also think that that would require the proof of the substantive facts that are in dispute, the fact that this was an unanticipated trip to Chicago, and that at the time that the search warrant affidavit was written, no test had been completed with regards to whether or not it was human blood? My recollection of our discussions at the 1538 is that it was only a presumptive test for blood.
Correct.
And not a determination that it was human blood.
That's correct. What we'd be required to do at that point is to explain, through the testimony of Detective Van Adder and other witnesses, precisely what brought him to the point where he made those statements in the affidavit. With respect to the conclusion that it was human blood on the door of the Bronco, the people concede it was a presumptive test for blood, and yet it was a logical conclusion that the blood placed on the door handle of a car would be by a human being. As we've stated before, I don't know how many animals know how to drive cars or could reach the door handle of a Bronco, and I don't think the defense is going to be able to argue anything to the contrary with respect to that. With respect, however, to the unexpected flight, now we're going to get into issues of what exact information was imparted to the officer who spoke to Kathy Randa, and what information exactly was imparted from that officer to Detective Van Adder, if any, and what witnesses talked to Detective Van Adder to lead him to the conclusion that it was an unexpected flight. We're going to now convene the mini-trial of the search warrant affidavit, and that will include not just of course, the statements that counsel wants to elicit as being incorrect, but then to bolster his credibility, we are going to have to go back to all of the numerous statements that were absolutely correct, to establish not only the fact that this was not a sloppy job, but to establish also the fact that there was no intentional misstatement. Because obviously, if he's writing a warrant that contains such abundant probable cause, why jeopardize it by deliberately misstating something to mislead a magistrate, which is what the defense is probably going to be arguing, that there was a deliberate attempt to mislead. Obviously, when you have an entire search warrant where everything else is correct, and you have a couple of things that are arguably incorrect, and with respect to the unexpected flight, although factually incorrect, as we later determined. The issue is really what Detective Van Adder knew at the time, and that's another reason that this is collateral impeachment. This goes to Detective Van Adder's state of mind. At the time he wrote it, this is what he believed based on a certain set of circumstances and a certain amount of information that he had. That it later developed through the investigation that that was incorrect does not impeach his veracity at the time he made the statement. It simply goes to show that later investigation disproved some aspect of what he believed to be true at the time he wrote it. So it doesn't even impeach with respect to his credibility. It simply shows that further investigation revealed facts to the contrary. How is that valid impeachment? How is that fair impeachment? Again, we get into 352 issues, an undue consumption of time in which he's going to have to explain exactly what information he had, where he got it, what led him to that conclusion, and call the witnesses back to the witness stand to explain what they told him, why they told him that, and at what point. And then at what point it was later determined to be otherwise. With respect to that, with respect to the human blood and any other misstatements that, I don't know of any other actually, but with respect to all of that. So we now are going to convene a mini trial on what's true and not true in the affidavit, basically requiring the jury to review an area that is not within their province, an area that has already been litigated fully and completely and properly under the statutes before this court. And this court made its determination. What the council is now going to do is reopen an area that is not meant to be in the province of the jury, and rightfully so, because as the court will see, we will then convene the mini trial of the search warrant affidavit written by Detective Van Adder and derail the trial and spend another week on testimony that should be concluded today.
All right. Thank you, counsel. Mr. Shapiro?
Your Honor, one of the central themes of the defense of this case is the credibility of witnesses. And we are dealing in an area here where the court has already made an extreme finding regarding the credibility of Detective Van Adder.
Severe, not extreme.
Severe, better word. An extreme finding would be that it was willfully false.
Correct.
And the jury is entitled to see what this man has stated under oath to a magistrate for the purpose of getting a warrant, and for me to examine what he knew at the time he got that warrant. These are not collateral issues. These statements are going to come directly from Brian Cato Kalin as to what he told Detective Van Adder, and will come directly from the very skimpy 2 paragraphs of notes that were the only notes taken by Detective Van Adder besides his recordations in the search warrant. And so it's very clear that this is impeachable material, highly relevant, and goes to the essence of what our case is about, and that is credibility, and that's what we've stressed from day one.
Mr. Shapiro, what concerns me most is Ms. Clark's 352 issue and her argument that this will necessitate a mini trial as to the content of the search warrant affidavit and all the other individuals who were involved.
I think this may be the quickest part of cross-examination we've seen in the trial. It will take much less time than we've taken over the last 2 hours from yesterday and today in arguing this issue. It simply is, did you put in the affidavit that a chemist told you there was human blood on the car? We know a presumptive test means only that it could be blood, but it could be other substances.
So you're telling me you could do this cross-examination as to these 2 specific issues in 5 or 6 questions?
I can't say 5 or 6 questions because it depends on the answer. As you know, Detective Van Adder is an experienced officer of 26 years, and he does not like to directly answer a question. So if he directly answered yes or
So my
no...
question was, do you think you can do this in 5 or 6 questions?
I can do it in the questions, but as you know, cross-examination depends on the answers. If he is honest and says yes or no, and yes, I made a mistake, or yes, I made a material misrepresentation, it can be very quick. But if he is not as forthcoming, then we are going to have to show him what he wrote, how he did it before, and the information he had at hand. In any event, it will not be a lengthy part of the examination.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Shapiro.
May I make one further point, Your Honor? I'm getting the distinct impression from counsel that he thinks that there is some belief on this side of counsel table that they can admit the court's findings with respect to the search warrant in their questioning of this witness before the jury, and that would be absolutely inappropriate. I don't think the court disagrees.
No, I agree with that. How it's phrased is very careful. Did you say, as I understand Mr. Shapiro's argument, I think the gist of what the question will be is, did you indicate to the magistrate in the search warrant affidavit that there had been a test for human blood, yes or no? Did you indicate to the magistrate in the search warrant affidavit that Mr. Simpson's trip to Chicago was unanticipated, yes or no? Thinking about this last night, I could do this in 4 questions.
It could be, but it won't be. And once he gets into that, Your Honor, we're going to have to respond.
No, but if I allow it, it will be.
Well, yeah. Well, no, what I meant is if you, I don't mean that. What I meant is
Or
if you...
I'll do the questioning.
I would have no objection to Your Honor asking the questioning on the search warrant and telling the jury what you're planning to do.
Okay, Your Honor, could you do my next 3 witnesses too?
Sure.
What I meant, Your Honor, was
in the
not...
Talmudic courts, there are no lawyers. It's just the judge asking questions.
I think it's a great idea.
I think so, too.
Right. But they don't have any juries either, do they?
No.
Right. What I was suggesting to the court is that I don't think that it will be, I don't think that if permitted to do this questioning, counsel will conclude it quite that expeditiously. And one has to also consider that the people would then be entitled to counter with all of the correct statements and all the things that were done properly in that search warrant affidavit. It's going to be a lot of time we're going to wind up spending on an issue that is clearly collateral. Okay, I've already made that argument, but and I'm not going to make it again, Your Honor, but I do wish that the court would instruct counsel not to question the witness on this, Your Honor's rulings with respect to this warrant.
All right. Thank you, counsel. All right, Mr. Shapiro, Ms. Clark, I am going to allow limited questioning of Detective Van Etter as to those 2 statements in the search warrant affidavit. And as I've indicated to counsel, it's a very limited number of questions that I'm going to allow in that area. Likewise, the redirect as to rehabilitation will be somewhat limited as well. Also, Mr. Shapiro, I'm going to direct you not to mention in this not to ask any questions that call for legal conclusions or that indicate the court's previous ruling or findings with regards to the search warrant affidavit, which are irrelevant as far as the jury is concerned. Is that understood?
Yes, it is.
All right, let's proceed.
Your Honor, we also have 2 other matters that we'd like to present. One is a video of Detective Van Etter going over the Bundy crime scene. We would like to show that with the court's permission.
Have you shown this to opposing counsel?
They've already seen it once before. They've seen it several times.
Has it been admitted before?
This is the original laser disc that we showed them at the beginning. We have no problem in showing that to them again.
How long is it?
Was it a couple of minutes? A couple of seconds.
Do you want to preview that, Mr. Darden?
Yes, we objected before and we'll probably object again.
All right.
The other thing we would like to present to the court is I have this morning given Mr. Darden a map of Los Angeles showing the distance between Parker Center, Piper Tech, where the crime lab is located, and the Bundy residence and the Rockingham residence. And we would like to put this up on the Elmo.
And I have no objection to Mr. Shapiro showing the map to Detective Van Etter. I do, however, object to the distances indicated on the map. He indicates that Parker Center to Piper Tech is 1 mile and that Parker Center to Rockingham is 18.7 miles. And I would object to the introduction of that before the jury without further foundation. as far as the distances are concerned.
Whatever you say is correct, we'll substitute it.
Well, I'm not testifying, the witness is testifying.
We got that from a computer program, that those are the shortest distances to those points.
All right, I'm going to allow the use of the map subject to a foundational objection. All right, let's have the jurors, please. Oh, I'm sorry.
Are you going to show the videotape?
Yeah, let me see the laser. All right. I've seen the video presentation. Any comment? Mr. Darden? Sure, why not? Mr. Harris? Yeah.
It appears that the bodies are already gone in that scenario. I don't see the relevance here.
Mr. Shapiro?
We believe the evidence will show that criminalist Fung was still there and that evidence was still being collected after the bodies were removed, and it goes to impeach their previous testimony.
Unless there's some evidence that Mr. Fung is collecting evidence then or at that time.
All right, I wasn't paying attention to Mr. Fung, who I did see. Let me see it one last time. All right, thank you. Any other comment, Mr. Shapiro?
No, Your Honor. But evidence collection is an important part of this case, and the testimony has been that evidence collection ended after the bodies were removed and all the evidence was done before.
Do we have a,
That's right, it is not true. Evidence collection continued. That's what they are saying is the proper procedure, that all evidence should be collected before the bodies are removed.
but we know that not to be true in this case.
That's correct, and that's why we're showing that for impeachment.
It doesn't impeach anything.
Yeah, we've got both people talking about
That
this.
has not been our position in this trial, Your Honor. That is that all the evidence has to be collected before the bodies are moved. I mean, the evidence has been that it should be photographed before the bodies are moved.
All right, well, if Mr. Fung is the focus of that particular video, it does appear that he is folding those little index cards and appears to have a writing instrument in his hand as well. So I'll allow the tape.
Thank you.
All right, let's have the jurors, please. The traffic problems, things that you have probably forgotten about recently. All right, Detective Philip Van Adder is still on the witness stand undergoing cross-examination by Mr. Shapiro. Good morning, Detective Van Adder.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Detective, you're reminded you are still under oath, and Mr. Shapiro, you may continue.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Detective.
Good morning, Mr. Shapiro.
Yesterday, you indicated that you would like some time to review your reports to see if you made any indication in any of your records as to whether you were shown any blood smears by Detective Furman. Have you had an opportunity to do that, sir?
Yes, I don't recall him showing me any blood smears that morning.
And there's no indication that you were shown any blood smears by Detective Furman?
No, I couldn't find any, no.
And if Detective Furman testified that there were blood smears on the door, that would certainly be something that would be important for him to point out to you, would it not?
He may have pointed them out. I don't recall him doing that.
Well, this is something very important. Is it not what blood you saw in the Bronco at Rockingham?
Pardon, sir? I didn't understand.
Is the observation of blood on the Bronco something that is very important in a homicide investigation like this?
Yes, sir.
And if you were shown blood smears on the bottom of the Bronco, isn't that something that you would remember?
I don't recall him showing them to me. He could have. I don't recall it.
My question is, isn't that something you would remember if those were shown to you?
I don't know how to answer that since I don't recall them being shown to me.
That's the best answer you give as to whether or not you would remember blood smears at Rockingham.
Sustained.
Did it ever dawn on you, sir, that if there were blood smears at the bottom, well, you saw blood smears inside the door on the bottom of the Bronco, didn't you?
Toward the top, toward the window, yes.
Did you see any blood towards the bottom of the door?
Down inside the vehicle?
Yes.
No.
Did it ever dawn on you that Detective Furman must have gone inside that car for him to see those blood spots?
Sustained. Rephrase the question.
If Detective Furman testified that he saw blood smears on the bottom of the Bronco, and your recollection is you did not see blood smears and Detective Furman didn't show them to you, did it dawn on you that Detective Furman must have gone inside the Bronco to make those observations?
Overruled on that ground.
As I recall Detective Furman's testimony, the blood smears he saw were on the outside of the vehicle, not inside.
Did that raise a question in your mind since you never saw blood smears outside the vehicle?
Sustained. Rephrase the question.
Did it cause you concern since you don't remember seeing any blood stains outside the vehicle?
No, there was a lot of blood there that I didn't see originally.
I'm talking about outside the vehicle. Was there a lot of blood outside the vehicle that you didn't see? At any point in time?
Yes, I don't recall seeing the blood smears along the panel of the door at the bottom.
Did you ever see those blood smears?
I saw a report that they were tested presumptive for blood.
Did you ever see those blood smears yourself?
I don't recall seeing them, no, sir.
Did you testify yesterday that you did see them?
No, sir, I did not.
Did you testify yesterday that you did not recall seeing the blood smears at the bottom of the Bronco that night, but you did see them at some later time?
I don't believe I said that. I don't recall seeing those smears at the bottom of the door.
May I show you your testimony of yesterday? We have taken this off a computer, and perhaps I can read it to him. These are off the live notes, but we can maybe locate it from the transcript. Would your court allow me to use?
I would prefer the transcript, which.
All right. Let me then. I'll go
gone
on to
to-
another matter.
All right.
When criminalist Fung came out at your order, did he test anything at the bottom of the Bronco for blood?
I believe that testing was done at a later date.
Did you photograph him pointing out any blood at the bottom of the Bronco? Or cause him to be photographed doing that?
No, I wasn't there when the photographs were done.
Did you order photographs to be taken?
Yes, sir, I did.
What did you order to be photographed?
The items of evidence that I was aware of.
And did you order the blood stain that you've referred to on the door handle of the Bronco? That was pretty small,
Yes, and it was above the door handle, not actually on the handle.
above the door handle?
Yes, sir.
And you ordered Criminalist Fung to do a phenolphthalein test?
Yes, a presumptive blood test, that's correct.
And a presumptive blood test only shows that the substance could possibly be blood. Is that correct?
Yes.
Could also be vegetable substances that would give a positive reading?
Sustained.
Do you know what else could give a positive reading?
No, I'm not an expert in that.
You didn't hear the testimony of the experts at the preliminary hearing when you were sitting there?
Sustained.
Did you hear the testimony? Have you heard experts testify as to what a presumptive test for blood is?
Overruled.
Yes.
And do you know whether any other substances, based on testimony you've heard from other experts, from experts in the field, could be a substance other than blood?
All right, I think it's a 352 problem.
Let me now go back to your transcript of yesterday. I want to draw the court's attention to page 19,556, lines 9 and 10, sir. Ask you to read that to yourself.
Okay.
May I put this up on the Elmo, Your Honor?
Yes.
Go down a little bit, Mr. Harris, please.
Rather than, I'm sorry. I'm going to give Detective Van Adder a court's copy of the transcript so he doesn't have to look at the monitor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We have the whole, all right, Mr. Harris, you need to back out just a little there. All right, proceed.
Do you recall being asked the question regarding Detective Furman, that you heard him testify that there were blood smears on the bottom of the door, didn't you?
I heard him testify to that, yes.
And your answer was, I did, yes? Is that correct?
Yes.
And then you were asked, did you see those? Recall that?
Yes.
And did you answer that question? I did at a later time. I don't recall him showing them to me that night.
Yes.
I'd ask that Mr. Shapiro be required to present to the jury all of the, rather the entire exchange all the way up to line 22.
Shapiro?
Your Honor, I think that would be proper for cross-examination. This is what I wanted to show. I think it directly impeaches the witness.
This is cross.
I mean, a redirect examination of the people.
All right, overruled. Proceed.
And you ordered Criminalist Fung to do a phenolphthalein test on that small blood drop on the Bronco. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you realize at that time that by doing the test, you would permanently destroy that evidence for any subsequent DNA analysis?
No, I didn't realize that.
And that, in fact, is what happened, isn't it?
Objection.
Sustained.
Have you been able to analyze that spot by DNA analysis?
Overruled.
Have I been able to?
Has anybody, to your knowledge, been able to?
Overruled. I think you can ask him, has that been submitted?
Has that been submitted for DNA analysis, to your knowledge?
I don't know that to my knowledge.
And when you told us yesterday that when you went into the Rockingham estate, that there was no direction as to where the detectives should go, is that correct?
Counsel, what time? It's kind of vague.
As you entered Rockingham, you told us yesterday that you searched the grounds to see if anybody was injured in the area. Is that correct?
Yes.
At that time, did you give any direction to Detective Lang as to what to do?
No.
Did you give any direction to Detective Furman as to what to do?
No.
Did you give any direction to Detective Phillips as to what to do?
No.
It was all being improvised by each detective according to his own desires?
Well, we were all seasoned police officers. Our purpose for being there was to make sure that everybody was okay at the location.
Did you see where Detective Lang went?
Yeah, I was close to Detective Lang most of the time.
So were you working as partners during that observation phase?
Yeah, we work as partners all the time, yes.
And everywhere you went, he went?
Not everywhere, no.
Where did he go that you didn't go?
He went to the back door of the location. I later went there. He remained in the kitchen when I went into the maid's quarters, and he remained in the kitchen when I went back into the bar area. And then I was out of his view for a period of time after that.
Did you direct anybody when you entered to look for people to find where is O.J.?
We had discussed our purpose for being there, and our purpose for going over the wall was to check the welfare and see if there were any occupants at the home. That was known between the four of us.
Is it standard police procedure when a witness is awakened to give them a test for alcohol or drug intoxication?
Standard?
Yes.
I think that would depend on the circumstances.
Did you give any direction to Detective Furman regarding a man known as Brian Cato Kalin?
No.
He gave you direction, though, didn't he?
No, he didn't give me direction.
He didn't tell you to talk to Cato?
He asked me to speak with him.
Did he tell you what he wanted you to speak to Cato about?
Briefly, yes.
What did he tell you he wanted to speak about?
He said that Cato had heard some sounds outside of his room that he thought was an earthquake, and he wanted me to talk to him about that.
At that time, did you know where O.J. Simpson was?
I believe I was aware that a phone call was being made to find out where he was at.
At that time, were you aware of where O.J. Simpson was, yes or no?
I may have been. I'm not sure.
Did you ask Cato, where's O.J.?
Yes, I did.
And did he tell you he had gone on a trip to Chicago for Hertz?
Yes, he did.
And he put that, and you wrote that down in your notes, did you not?
Yes.
Did you know that? Did you know where O.J. was at the time that you walked into the house with the maid? Looking for the maid, I'm sorry.
No, I did not.
When you came in looking for the maid, did you ask anybody, where's O.J. at that time?
I did not know.
Did you ask Orenthal Simpson, where's O.J.?
At what point?
When you came in looking for the maid?
I had asked her previously.
Did you ask her if he was in the house?
Yes.
And what did she say?
She gestured toward the house and said, "Isn't he here?" And I asked her, "Is he? Do you have a key? Can we go check?" And she took us into the home.
Did you ask her where O.J.'s bedroom was?
No, I did not.
If you were concerned about O.J., wouldn't you want to go up to his bedroom and see if he was still sleeping?
If he hadn't been accounted for, yes. He was accounted for at a point there that morning.
But he wasn't accounted for immediately, was he?
No, sir, he wasn't.
And there was a period of time when you were concerned about looking for the maid and sitting and talking to Cato before you were concerned about where is O.J., isn't that true?
Before I was concerned about looking for O.J.?
Correct.
I think the main concern was to locate O.J., and that was done quite quickly after we arrived in there by phone call. He was accounted for. The maid was obviously not there, At that point is when I believe I started walking back toward the back. I knew they were on the phone attempting to locate O.J. at that point.
Your first knowledge of the accountability of O.J. Simpson was because of a phone call?
Yes, I heard Arnell tell either Detective Phillips or Lang that she could make a phone call to his secretary and she would always know where he was at.
Okay. And did you get the results of that phone call?
At a later time, yes.
What time did you confirm that O.J. Simpson was in Chicago?
Oh, I was told that by Cato, and then I was later told that by my partner.
What time did you confirm it?
Shortly after 6 o'clock that morning.
What time do your phone records indicate that O.J. Simpson was contacted in Chicago?
If I could see the records, I could tell you.
Okay. Do you have those records? We
Yeah, they
talked
may
about
be in
that
my book
yesterday.
there.
We talked about that yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah.
We asked you to look for that. They're in this book? May I bring these up, Your Honor?
You may.
There's volumes of records. I'm having a hard time right now locating them.
Your Honor, I would have no objection to Detective Lang helping Detective Phillips try to locate this.
All right. Detective Lang, why don't you take the investigation notebooks and see if you can find the phone records for that point in time? Detective Lang make the record search and we proceed with any other questions for Detective Van
That's
Adder.
acceptable, Your Honor.
All right.
Is it your position, Detective Van Adder, that prior to trying to go up to a bedroom or look around the house for O.J., you decided to try to locate him telephonically?
I don't quite understand that. What, could you say that again? My contention what?
Your Honor, could that be reread to the witness?
Is it your position, Detective Van Adder, that prior to trying to go up to a bedroom or look around the house for O.J., you decided to try to locate him telephonically?
That's what occurred with his daughter, yes.
How about if we refer to the defendant as Mr. Simpson?
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective Van Adder, you applied for several search warrants in this case, did you not?
Yes.
And a search warrant requires an affidavit signed under penalty of perjury, does it not?
Yes.
And that requirement is so that an independent magistrate or judge can make a determination as to whether or not a search warrant should issue and not let the police rely on their own instincts. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And in filling out a search warrant, you indicated to a magistrate under penalty of perjury that you were told that O.J. Simpson had left on an unexpected flight to Chicago, did you not?
I didn't say I was told that. I
You
did.
report-
I did write that in the search warrant.
And you
yes.
signed that under penalty of perjury.
Yes, that's correct, sir.
And that wasn't true, was it?
I found out later that that information was incorrect. That was based on Arnell Simpson's response that morning, as well as Cato Kalin telling me that he had received a phone call after Simpson had left the residence telling him to alarm the house that he was going to Chicago on a business trip for Hertz.
You filled out the affidavit for the search warrant at what time, sir?
I started that approximately 7:45 in the morning.
And what time did you present it to a magistrate, sir?
It was signed at 10:45.
And the magistrate asked you to make some hand corrections in there, did she
Yes.
not? And isn't it true, sir, that at 6 o'clock in the morning, your handwritten notes indicate that your interview with Cato Kalin, that he told you that O.J. Simpson had left on a flight for Chicago for Hertz?
Yes, that's correct.
And did you also indicate under penalty of perjury, sir, that you observed what appeared to be human blood, which was later confirmed by a criminalist to be human blood?
Yes, I said that.
And isn't it true at the time that that was not a test to determine whether or not this was human blood?
That's true. I misstated that. I guess based on my experience, I believed it was human blood, and I still think it's human blood. I think it's been proven to be human blood.
You also said, sir, did you not, that you observed blood on the console of the Bronco and blood inside the door panel of the Bronco, did you not?
Yes, sir.
Did you include that information in your search warrant?
No.
Why not?
That was a quick attempt to get a search warrant to move the investigation along. I missed some things in it that should have been in it.
Did you make any notes of that in any reports that were filed in this case?
No, sir, I didn't.
Regarding the glove that you saw, where in your reports regarding Rockingham did you show that a glove was found at Rockingham?
It's in the search warrant, and it's also in the follow-up report.
It's in this, I said, where in your notes are they shown?
There are no notes.
Where in Detective Lang's notes is it shown that a glove was found at Rockingham?
I don't believe it's in Lang's notes.
Where in Detective Phillips' notes is it shown that a glove was found at Rockingham?
I don't believe he has any notes.
Where in Detective Furman's notes is it shown that a glove was found in Rockingham?
It's not, sir.
Where in the master note-taker's notes is it shown that a glove was found at Rockingham?
It's in the criminalist's notes that he recovered the piece of evidence, and those were taken at my direction.
When was that? When were
The
those
morning
notes
of the
taken?
13th.
At your direction?
That's correct, yes.
And do you have those notes?
No, sir, I don't. Those are criminalist work product.
A chronological record is required to be kept in all cases of homicide investigation, is it not?
Yes, sir.
Where in the chronological record does it indicate that any of the 4 officers there recovered a glove?
It doesn't.
Well,
Yes. Sure. The traditional location.
This is a diagram that you previously authenticated at the direction of Mr. Darden, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And in putting up a diagram for a jury, you want to be certain that that diagram is accurate, do you not?
It appears to be accurate. Yeah.
Well, has anybody looked at it to make sure that it's accurate?
It appears to be accurate.
All right, Mr. Shapiro, which People's Exhibit is this?
This is Exhibit 66, Your Honor.
All right, proceed.
Now, one of the things that you've told us about is a path of blood that led from the control gate at Rockingham to the front entrance of the house at Rockingham. Is that correct?
Well, I don't think it was a path. There was blood droplets that appeared to be a trail, yes.
How many blood droplets constitute a trail?
Oh, it could go from 1, 2 to 5,000 if it proceeded that far.
And it was your opinion that the person who dropped the glove at Rockingham was involved in the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman, is it not?
Yes, it is.
I take it then that if there was blood coming from Rockingham to the entrance of the house, that same person would be bleeding at the time that the glove was placed in the condition in the area outside of Kalen's room. Is that correct?
Sustain.
Is it your opinion that the person who did the killing was bleeding at the time he came or she came to Rockingham?
Yes.
I take it then there was a thorough search for blood from the area of Rockingham to the area where the glove was found.
Yes, that's correct.
How much blood was found there?
None. None that I'm aware of.
I take it a thorough search was done of the adjacent property for blood. Is that correct?
The area was searched, yes.
For blood?
Well, search for any type of evidence.
Was it searched for blood?
Yes, sir, that would include any type of evidence.
How much blood was found there?
None.
I take it a thorough search of the fence was undertaken if somebody climbed the fence for blood.
Yes.
How much blood was found there?
None.
I take it a thorough search was done of the walls.
That's correct, yes.
How much blood was found there?
None.
Now, the person who dropped, strike that. You're aware that there are ways to get into the Rockingham house from the side area where the glove was found, are you not?
I observed a door there on the side. I don't know where it leads into the house.
And that's something that was very important in your investigation, wasn't it, as to where doors would be?
No, I wouldn't say that impacted me, no.
You wouldn't be concerned if there was a way for somebody to avoid detection and come in through the side of the house?
There didn't appear to be any evidence that anybody had gone in that way.
Did you check to see?
I looked at the door, yes,
Where did you look at the door?
from the outside.
Which door did you look at? Is that this door here?
It was a door that was toward the back of the garage. I believe that may have led into the laundry room or something.
Towards the back of the garage?
Yes.
Where's that door shown on this diagram?
May I stand up?
Sure.
I believe
There's
it's,
another one she's at.
I believe it's shown right in here.
May we mark that somehow for identification, like maybe just a sticker or anything?
Do you have one available?
Maybe we can just use an evidence tag. What? Do you want me to mark it with a marker, Your Honor? What do you prefer?
By golly, you got me unprepared. Mrs. Robertson, I have some of those peel-off arrow things.
That's what I was looking
In the well, please.
This is a full service.
It is.
Thank you, Judge. Detective Van Adder, would you be kind enough to, excuse me, show me, put that on the diagram?
Yeah, I believe this indicates the door here.
And that's the only door on the side of the location that allows access into the Rockingham case into the Rockingham house, according to your investigation?
I never went through the door, so I don't know if there's any other doors there or not. I don't recall any other.
Well, you had 2 search warrants for this house, did you not?
That's correct, yes.
And you also were looking around to see whether there were any bodies lying around, were you not?
That's correct.
And you also have approved of this diagram, have you not?
It appears to be accurate to me, yes.
So you would certainly want to know how anybody could get into the house and to check to see whether there's any blood trail there, would you not?
There was no blood trail found.
Well, but you would not know that unless you knew where all the entrances to the house were. Isn't that correct?
Well, there was an apparent blood trail that led from the Rockingham gate from the street right into the front door. I think that would, unless you had a whole bunch of people there bleeding, that would preclude any other blood trails. And there was no other blood found.
Would it surprise you, sir, to learn that there is a door that goes into the garage that leads into the kitchen of the house?
No, that wouldn't surprise me. That's a possibility. It could be there.
Sorry, Mr. Shapiro just placed another piece of tape on
He did.
I asked him to remove
I think we need to have those placed on by witnesses, if possible.
I'm sorry?
How about if you remove the second arrow, please, at this point?
Well, can I just indicate that he said that, all right, I'll just remove that now. Thank you, Your Honor. Also, you determined what other ways excuse me, did you determine other ways that an individual might be able to gain access to the Rockingham grounds other than the front door? Or through the 2 gates?
I
Is that
believe,
clear?
yes, yes it is. And I believe access could be gained through the neighbor's property and through the tennis courts.
Would you indicate that with the pointer, please?
I never walked that area, but I was told that you could enter the neighbor's property and come through the tennis courts and through a gate that was over in this area that came onto the property.
And so that, if somebody wanted to avoid being seen, they could enter that way, is that correct?
Oh yeah, there would be many ways you could enter without being seen, probably.
And is it possible, sir, to get to this area of the house?
Sorry, I can't see.
Excuse me, Mr. Darby. Is it possible, Detective Van Adder, to get to the back door of the house from this area by heading around the back to where Arnell's room is?
Yes, that's possible.
That simply requires coming right through the area marked Arnell's room between the tennis court and the side of Arnell's room, is that correct?
And climbing 2 fences, yes.
And that fence, 2 fences?
2 fences,
Are you
yes.
sure?
I believe so,
Did
yes.
you try to climb those fences?
No, I didn't.
They're about 2 feet high? Is that correct?
One of them is on one side because there's a wall on one side of it. I think it's a regular cyclone chain link fence.
It wouldn't be iron grated type apparatus that you could simply step on and walk over, would it?
I don't recall that.
Did you
no.
take any photographs of that?
I don't believe any were taken back there, no.
Did you examine that area? I guess you didn't examine it carefully yourself. Did you ask anyone to examine that area?
I believe the area was examined with a metal detector, yes.
Did you have anybody attempt to see how easy or difficult it would be to walk over that fence?
I never directed that, no.
But that would be a way also for somebody to avoid detection if they didn't want to be seen by anybody at the front. Is that correct?
Certainly, yes.
Now, regarding the activities of Mr. Simpson, would you agree with the following? That when he was called in Chicago, he had the opportunity to go any place in the world.
Sustained.
Were there any restrictions on Mr. Simpson's travel when he was called in Chicago by you or anyone from the Los Angeles Police Department?
None to my knowledge.
Would you agree that he voluntarily returned to Los Angeles?
Yes.
Would you agree that he voluntarily accompanied you to the Los Angeles Police Department?
Yes.
Would you agree that he voluntarily allowed you to search a bag that he had?
Yes.
Would you agree that he voluntarily gave you talked with you in the car on the way to the station?
Yeah, he voluntarily talked, yes.
Would you agree that he voluntarily spoke with you in a tape-recorded interview without the presence of counsel?
Yes.
Would you agree that he asked to have a blood sample taken from him?
I asked if I could take a blood sample.
Did he
from him.
voluntarily agree?
Yes.
You don't recall him saying, "Why don't you take my blood and test it"?
No, I asked him for the blood.
Did you make any notes of that?
No.
Did you record that?
Record what?
The conversation.
All right,
I'm just asking about the blood.
I understand.
I think what you're
Overruled. Thank you. Proceed.
I think what you're asking, there was a conversation. I asked and he said, "Why don't you take it?" type thing.
Did
I think
he?
that's what you're asking.
Didn't he voluntarily allow you to examine his finger?
Yes, he did.
And he voluntarily allowed you to photograph his finger?
Yes, that's correct.
And he voluntarily allowed you to photograph his body?
I didn't photograph his body.
Did you ask permission to?
No.
Did he ask you to?
No.
You sure?
Positive.
Is there any reason why you didn't ask to photograph his body to see if he had any bruises?
He was in a short-sleeved shirt. I didn't see anything on his arms or anything, and the only thing I saw was his left hand that was injured.
Well, you had concluded at that point in time that Ronald Goldman had been in a violent struggle for his life, had you not?
Yeah, a defensive violent struggle, and defensive and offensive are really two different things.
So you wouldn't be concerned with looking at an individual who may be a suspect to determine whether they had any injuries on their body?
I saw injuries on him on his hand.
What about on his chest? Would you be interested in looking at that?
I didn't ask him to do that.
No, my question was, would you be interested in looking at that?
If he had been placed under arrest at that point, I would have looked at it. He was not under arrest. I never asked him to look at it.
Well, he was as cooperative as anybody could be, wasn't he?
If being truthful is being cooperative, then that's very subjective. I'm not sure that his demeanor was cooperative, but I don't believe the information was truthful.
Did he do everything you asked of him?
Yes.
Is there any reason why you wouldn't ask him if you could examine his body and photograph it?
I didn't do that.
Is there any reason why you didn't?
I just didn't do it.
Well, I know you didn't, but is there a reason why you didn't?
I just didn't do it, sir. I didn't ask him. I just didn't do it.
Did you forget? Did you think it wasn't important? Is it was something that had no value at all to you as an investigator?
Overruled.
Isn't it true, sir, that when you asked about Mr. Simpson's blood, he gave you the following response?
Sustained. Counsel, you need to share that with opposing counsel. All right, with the court reporter, please.
I want to make sure, it's just been pointed out to me that there's no misunderstanding. Was there any blood trail found leading away from the glove into the residence?
No, I didn't find any.
And regarding your conversation with Cato, did he tell you that a limousine had come to pick up O.J.?
He told me that he had seen a limousine there, yes.
And Detective Furman was aware of that, was he not?
No, if he knows.
I believe I heard from his testimony that he knew that. Yeah, I didn't know that at that time.
When you took O.J.'s blood sample, you were at a place called Parker Center,
Yes, sir.
and that's the main Los Angeles Police Department headquarters.
Mr. Darden? Mr. Cochran, is there some reason you need to be there?
No, I was sitting over here because of the attack.
All right, thank you. I think we are. Thank you.
Glad.
I'll walk.
All right. Proceed.
Is that the main headquarters for the Los Angeles Police Department?
Yes.
And is that a place, you use the term buy a DR number. Is that a police parlance for obtaining that number?
Yes.
You don't actually go to a location, do you, to buy it?
No, that's just a term of obtaining a DR number.
And it's something that's very easily obtained and very regularly obtained.
That's correct, yes.
And doesn't take much to obtain a DR number, does it?
No.
You simply walk down to the clerk and ask for one. Isn't that correct?
Well, in this case, the DR number...
Not in this case. Is that in the general case? You simply walk down and
No.
ask for one.
No, that's not true.
How do you get a DR number?
The DR numbers come from the Division of Occurrence, which meant that this DR number had to come from West Los Angeles Division.
So you have to go out to West Los Angeles to get it?
or telephone West Los Angeles.
So you couldn't, is it your testimony that you couldn't walk downstairs in Parker Center, go to the clerk and ask the clerk to call West Los Angeles to get a DR number?
Oh, of course I could have done that.
And that would take, what, less than a minute?
Well, if I did it that way, it would take longer than a minute. I could have actually made the phone call myself. I didn't.
How long would that take?
Probably 10 minutes' time.
And there's an evidence locker there to store blood evidence, is there not?
Yes,
And there's refrigeration facilities there.
yes.
And the criminal laboratory that's run by the Los Angeles Police Department, where's that located?
It's on Vignes Street. It's called Piper Tech.
And how far is Piper Tech in miles, if you know, from Parker Center?
Approximately a mile.
And how far is Parker Center from the Rockingham location?
Approximately 20 miles.
20 miles?
Yeah, approximately.
Now, the evidence that you collected from Mr. Simpson, the blood evidence, is very sensitive evidence, is it not?
Yes, very sensitive.
And as an experienced detective, you wanted to make sure that there was a measured amount of blood in there, did you not?
Measured amount of blood?
Yeah, you want to know how much blood you had to start out with, didn't you? 'Cause you were going to use this as what they call a reference sample.
That would not be for me to determine. The amount drawn is done by the nurse, and then the amount used is done by the criminalist, not by me.
What did the nurse know about this case that drew the blood?
No, you don't understand, sir. I didn't do the drawing of the blood. The nurse actually drew the blood.
What did the nurse know about this case?
The nurse knew nothing about the case. I asked the nurse to draw me a blood sample.
Did you ask the nurse or request the nurse to draw a specific amount of blood?
No, sir, I did not.
You just left that up to the nurse who knew nothing about the case.
Well, I think there's standards for drawing blood samples.
What are the standards?
I don't know. I don't draw blood samples.
What makes you think there are standards?
I would assume that a sample that's taken is a standard sample. I don't know what that would be.
And doesn't LAPD policy require blood samples to be booked immediately?
As soon as practical, yes.
Does it say immediately or as soon as practical?
Well, immediately to me means as soon as practical.
Well, I know what it means to you, but I'm saying, what does the policy say without your interpretation?
As soon as possible.
It says as soon as possible, that's
Yes.
what the manual says?
Yes.
You sure of that?
Well, it says immediately, let me withdraw that. It says immediately is what it says. To me, immediately means as soon as practical, as soon as can be done.
And as soon as can be done was when you had it in your hand to walk down, call up, get your DR number, and in the same building you were in, turn it over to the evidence room and have it marked and booked and properly refrigerated, right?
That couldn't be done at that point
Why not?
because other evidence had been gathered. Evidence has to be booked in a sequence. I didn't know what number the blood would be in the sequence. To me, once I turn it over to the criminalist, it's been booked anyway.
So you are telling us, under oath, that you, as the lead detective, could not have booked a vial of blood taken from O.J. Simpson at Parker Center where the blood was taken. Is that your testimony, sir?
No. I could have done that.
Okay, thank you. Could you,
I was just about to take a break.
okay, thank you very much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a need to change court reporters at this time. Please remember my admonitions to you. Don't discuss the case amongst yourselves. Don't form any opinions about the case. Don't allow anybody to communicate with you. Don't perform any deliberations till the matter's been submitted to you. We'll be in recess until 11 o'clock. Detective Van Adder, you may step down, sir.
Where was the criminalist?
At Rockingham,
How'd you know that?
because I knew that the search warrant, the execution of the search warrant had started at approximately after 12 noon, and I knew that there were still officers at the location, and believed that he was at the location also.
You believed, but you didn't know.
Well, I didn't know for certain
You didn't call him and say, are you at the location? I've got some blood to bring to you?
No, I didn't talk to him on the phone.
You didn't call anybody there in charge to see where the criminalist was?
No.
And there were many areas where a criminalist could be. Isn't that correct?
Well, I knew he was either at Bundy or Rockingham, yes.
So you didn't know which one of the two?
Well, I assumed Rockingham because I knew the search warrant had started after 12 noon.
All right. I want to show you a map of the areas we've been talking about and ask you if you can identify...
Mr. Harris, can we get a slightly tighter focus on that? A little...
Can you identify where Parker Center is? You see that?
Yes, I see the notation there, yes.
And it's approximately, you say, a little over a mile to Piper Tech?
Well, I believe it's approximately a mile, yes.
Mile. And those are two areas where you've told us the blood could be booked.
Yes, that's correct.
Where did you go when you left Parker Center?
Straight to Rockingham.
What route did you take?
The Santa Monica Freeway to the San Diego Freeway.
And you were driving?
We were both driving. We took our cars. Took our own cars.
Where was this blood vial?
With me and my vehicle.
Where?
In a manila envelope on the front seat of my car.
Do you have any ice or refrigeration equipment with you?
No, I knew there was preservative in the vial when the blood was drawn.
How'd you know that? Did you test it?
No, but I know that vials that are used by the police department for blood samples contain preservative.
Supposed to contain preservative.
Well, I think, okay, if you want to say supposed to, it's my information they contain preservatives in the vials.
But you haven't tested that and you have no independent knowledge of any preservative being in there, do you?
No, sir, I haven't tested it, no.
So you just have this blood in your car. Wasn't there a risk of something happening to the blood in transporting it that distance?
No, the risk was me not keeping control of the blood, the chain of custody of the blood to give it to the criminalist. That was the risk.
I take it that if you walked it from where you were in Parker Center right up to the evidence room, there'd be much less risk.
Well, at that point, the paperwork couldn't have been completed.
Now, my question was risk, sir. I don't mean to interrupt you.
I'm trying to explain that. There would have been a greater risk. The paperwork couldn't have been completed. There would have been no actual physical control over the item.
So you're telling us that at Parker Center that you could not have taken that item and booked it immediately?
No, I could have done that. I made the decision to hand carry it to the criminalist who was processing all the other evidence.
Did you run a risk of dropping it in case you slipped on the way in or out of your car?
Oh, I guess that was a possibility, but that didn't happen.
Did you run a risk of, God forbid, being in an accident?
Thank God I wasn't.
Or that was a risk that you chose to run?
That's a risk, sir, every time I go out in the streets.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be a risk to carry it down to book it in Parker Center, would it?
No.
Oh, you left, you say, at the latest at 3:30 from Parker Center?
No, I didn't say that. I think it was around 4 o'clock that I left Parker
Well, you
Center.
got the blood at 3:30.
Yeah, I
What'd you
didn't
do
leave
for-
immediately from there.
What'd you do after you got the blood?
I went back up to my office
For what?
to start assembling some of the information I had and to organize myself and then to go out to Rockingham.
And how did you assemble this information? Did you take notes?
I was just, it had been a long day. I may have even had a cup of coffee when I went up there. I don't recall, but that's a possibility.
And you didn't keep any records of what you did?
No, sir, I didn't.
And the blood was with you?
Yes.
Where was the blood, in your jacket?
No, it was, I went to my desk and I had it in a manila envelope on my desk.
Did you leave any record? Was Lang with you?
Lang was with me, yes.
And were you talking with Lang?
I'm sure I was, yeah. I talk with him all the time.
Are you sure Lang went up to your office with you?
Yeah, I'm sure.
No doubt about that.
Lang was with me after 12 o'clock most of the evening until about 7 o'clock.
And did Lang have coffee with you in your office?
I don't know.
Where'd you get your coffee from?
We have a coffee machine in the office. I said I may have. I'm not positive I did. I may have had a cup of coffee.
And you may not have.
Yeah, that's true, sure.
And you may have spent a half hour there, and you may not have.
No, I think I was there about a half an hour before I left.
Do you have any records to indicate that?
No, sir, I don't.
Did you keep anything of what you did after you got the blood? You make a notation, I've got the blood, now here's what I'm doing with it?
No.
Well, you left at 4 o'clock.
Approximately, yes.
How long did it take you to get from Parker Center to Rockingham at 4 o'clock?
As I recall, the traffic was pretty heavy. I think it took an hour, maybe a little over an hour.
And how did you go?
I believe I told you the Santa Monica Freeway to the San Diego Freeway to Sunset Boulevard.
From Sunset Boulevard to Rockingham?
Yes,
And that took you about an hour.
I think so, yeah, approximately.
Did you log in what time you arrived at Rockingham?
I believe it was logged on the log when I got there, yes.
I'm saying, did you log in?
I believe the logging officer logged me in, yes.
What time did he log you in at?
I think at approximately 5:20, as I recall.
So what happened between 5 o'clock and 5:20 when you got there before you logged in?
Well, it's tough to account for a minute-by-minute accounting. I drove straight to Rockingham, checked in, and immediately gave the blood to the criminalist who had finished his work and was leaving.
You didn't go to Bundy first?
No, I did not.
And you didn't know where the criminalist was, or even if he was at Rockingham, did you?
I assumed he was at Rockingham. He
So
was at Rockingham, as a matter of fact.
Isn't it true that the only accounting for time that is recorded is the time the blood was drawn, which you say is 3:30, and the time that you logged in at Rockingham, which is 5:20, almost 2 hours?
That's correct, yes.
And Mazzola was with Fung at the time you turned the blood over?
I don't recall seeing Mazzola. She could have been there. I don't recall seeing her.
Wait, you heard Mazzola testify she was always with Fung, didn't you?
I'm going on my own perception. I don't recall seeing her there.
Where was Lang?
Lang was there with me.
So it was you, Lang, and Fung?
No, there were other officers there, too.
What other officers were there?
What other officers?
Yeah.
I recall Detective Looper, Detective LaFall. There were some uniformed officers there.
Yeah, do we need this anymore?
And I don't recall any other names. There were officers there.
Does Fung work out of Parker Center?
No,
Does Fung work out of Piper Tech?
no.
Where does Fung work out of? Will we take it down, please? That should be marked 1058, Your Honor.
Mrs. Robertson? Yes.
Where does Fung work out of?
Northeast Station.
Where's that?
It's on York Boulevard, I believe.
On where?
San Fernando, I'm sorry, San Fernando, I believe. It's in northeast section.
Well, I'm not familiar with that area. It's San Fernando
It's,
Valley?
it's,
Wait.
no,
wait,
it's,
Wait. Gentlemen, you are both talking at the same time again. Please. All right,
Excuse
tell
me,
us,
Your
tell
Honor.
us where the new Northeast Station is.
It's off of the Glendale Freeway at, I believe, York Boulevard.
Now, did you want all the evidence to be booked down at Piper Tech?
Yes?
That's the most secure place, isn't it?
Well, that's where serology is analyzed. I wouldn't say it's the most secure place, no.
And did you direct Fung as to where to take this blood for booking?
Detective Fung would automatically take it to Piper Tech for booking
How do you know that?
because that's part of his job.
Do you know that he did that?
No, I wasn't with him 24 hours a day, no.
Did he give you a receipt for the blood you gave him?
He wrote it in his notes. He didn't give me a receipt, he wrote it in his notes.
Did you notice when you took the blood whether or not there was any blood dripping in the area of the corked portion of the tube?
I don't recall any blood dripping.
Did you look?
I looked at the vial. I don't recall any blood dripping.
How many times have you taken blood from Parker Center out to a crime scene?
I don't know. This may have been the first time. I don't know. I can't recall right now any other times that I've done that.
How many times have you been involved in a murder case where you've taken a statement voluntarily from a suspect and not introduced it into evidence?
Sustained.
Did you go through?
Excuse me, juries to disregard the implication of that question. Thank you. Proceed.
Did you go through any special coaching sessions prior to you taking the witness stand today?
No, sir, I did not.
Do you have any special training in how to testify?
Have I ever?
Yeah.
Well, I think they may have given us an hour or two in the police academy. Yeah. That was a long time ago, though.
Did you meet with any of the lawyers in this case regarding your testimony?
Oh, I see them on a daily basis, yes.
Did you meet with them specifically for the purpose of reviewing your testimony?
Yes.
And did you go through any mock testimony or cross-examination?
No, sir, I did not.
Were you ever brought to a grand jury room to be cross-examined by several lawyers?
No, sir.
Have you ever heard of that happening in any case before?
I've heard of mock examinations, but when you say grand jury room, I don't know about that.
In 26 years on the police force, how many times have you testified as a witness?
Many, many times.
Can you do any better than that by number?
Many, many, many. I couldn't tell you.
He told us you've been involved in 200 homicide cases, 500 investigations.
Many, many times. Maybe, I don't know. Many, many, many times. I can't tell you exactly.
Hundreds?
I would say more than that.
And that's part of your job as a professional police officer to testify, isn't it?
Yes.
And you are, in a way, a professional witness.
It's part of my job, yes.
Have you been told to do anything regarding your emotions when you testify?
No.
At any time when you were at Rockingham that morning, did you hear Arnell or Cato ever use the word unplanned?
No.
Did you ever hear that word used by Kathy Randa or attributed to her?
No.
Did you ever hear that word used by anyone?
No.
You listened to Detective Furman's testimony, did you not?
Part of it, not all of it.
Did you listen to the part when he talked about interviewing Cato Kalin?
I heard part of it, yes.
Did you hear the part that the prosecutor asked him a question, why?
Counsel,
Why-
foundational objection at this point.
Oh, this was your
Yes.
question, I'm sorry.
You want to let me know, too?
Yes. It's page
What volume, counsel?
18694, Your Honor.
What volume?
Volume 106, it's line 3 through 5.
I'm sorry, what page?
18694, Your Honor.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How was it? I stand corrected. That was not Mr. Darden's question or Ms. Clark's question. I apologize to both of them for saying that it was.
There's an objection. This is improper.
Let me hear the question.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
I'd like to hear the question.
Yes. The question is, did he hear this question being asked of Detective Van Adder? Why didn't you tell him the subject?
This is I'm sorry, Mr. Garden, can't hear.
The transcript relates to Detective Furman's
It does.
testimony, not to Detective Van Adder's. This is improper.
Yes, I want to ask him if he heard this testimony and if he can explain the difference between his
Proceed.
answer and Detective Furman's.
Proceed.
Yes. The question was to Detective Furman, why didn't you tell him, referring to you, Detective Van Adder, the subject matter about which he ought to be concerned if he was going to interrogate a witness? His answer, no reason. I wanted to go investigate the noise to see if we could even get to that south wall. Why did you not tell him that you were going to investigate a noise and he should finish the investigation? No reason. The interrogation. No reason. Thank you. Did you hear that testimony?
Yes.
Which is correct, your testimony or Detective Furman's as to that incident?
My testimony is based on my recollection of what happened, not on Detective Furman's recollection. My recollection is he told me.
And his recollection is different.
That's a possibility.
May I just have a moment? To review some material, Your Honor, please.
Certainly.
Thank you. I wanted to ask you about the Bronco. You said that you wanted the Bronco to be secure when it was at Rockingham.
Yes, sir.
What time was that?
At what point of the day are you asking me about?
When did you want it to be secure? When did you decide for the first time that this vehicle should be secured?
Approximately 5:30 in the morning.
And by secured, you wanted to make sure that no trace evidence could be tampered with regarding that vehicle?
That's correct, yes.
That no evidence inside that vehicle could be tampered with?
That's correct, yes.
And that no evidence in the surrounding area of that vehicle could be tampered with, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So you wanted to cordon off that entire area with tape, is that correct?
No, I put uniformed police officers on the vehicle to protect the vehicle.
Well, you said that one of the things you were concerned about was the onslaught of the press, is that correct?
That occurred during the day, yes.
And in order to protect from that onslaught, would it be a good procedure to cordon off that area with tape so nobody enters it, because that's now a crime scene?
Well, yeah, that would have been a good idea. However, at the time I left there was, as I recall, there was no one there, and I had officers protecting the vehicle.
How many officers did you assign to protect the vehicle?
A two-man uniformed car.
Who are they?
I believe their names were Gonzalez and Aston.
And what was your instructions to them?
To Maintain control of the vehicle, protect the vehicle, and impound the vehicle.
What about the surrounding areas? Were you concerned about the grassy area and possible trace evidence that might be there?
I had the criminalist there at that point, and he was aware of that, and he was to take control of the evidence.
Did you cordon that area off?
No, sir, I did not.
Why not?
At that point, I had it protected.
By the officers?
That's correct.
You
yes.
told them to not let anybody go in that area also?
I told him to protect that area, protect that vehicle, yes.
What about the street right outside the driver's door? There's a possibility you could find some footwear impression evidence there, is there not?
I don't think on asphalt that that's possible, no.
No?
I don't believe so.
Did you talk to Mr. Boziak about that?
I
Your
have never
expert?
seen that done, no. No, I didn't.
Have you read anything in his book about how you should protect for that eventuality?
No, sir, I haven't.
Would you disagree with him if he said that would be an important area to preserve?
No, I wouldn't disagree. He's an expert, I'm not.
Wouldn't the proper procedure then to be to actually cordon off that whole street where the Bronco was on both sides so that there would be no chance of contaminating that crime scene, sir?
Well, I guess if we're going to that extent, I guess the proper procedure would have been to cordon off between Bundy and Rockingham and search the entire area. That wasn't possible. I didn't deem that necessary at that point.
And you later found out that the press was not only in the vicinity of the Bronco, but it spilled coffee on the hood of the Bronco while it was being secured by your officers, did you not?
I was told that by you, yes.
Have you
the
been told that
preliminary
by, have you been told that by anyone else?
I saw it in the, I saw that there were coffee stains to be disregarded in the tow report, yes.
And you also have seen photographs of a civilian running up and touching the exact area where you saw the blood, did you not?
I saw photographs of what appeared to be a woman looking into the vehicle, yes.
And you're aware that things were stolen from that Bronco, were you not?
Objection, hearsay.
And you were aware that Bronco was never properly protected, are you not?
Objection, hearsay.
Calls for conclusion, sustained.
You were aware of evidence regarding a blanket that was taken from Bundy to be used on one of the victims, were you not?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't at Bundy when that was done.
Are you aware that was done?
I am, yes, now.
And is that proper procedure to take a blanket from a home, take it outside, and use it to cover a victim?
Well, I think that shows proper respect for a victim that's laying in public view that can be seen, that the detective or the police officer has enough respect to try and cover that person, yes.
I agree with you. But I'm asking you, a blanket from a house, could that have had trace evidence on it?
That's a possibility, sure.
If Mr. Simpson had been a guest in that home, might his hair be on that blanket?
Objection, calls for speculation.
Sustained.
Is it possible his hair could be on that blanket?
Sustained.
Were you concerned that there might be semen on that blanket that when coming in contact with blood from the victims could contaminate DNA?
Objection, Your Honor, witness wasn't there. Calls for speculation.
Sustained.
Would that be a legitimate concern to have as the lead detective?
Objection.
Well, he's already testified he was concerned there might be trace evidence on it. That covers a whole panoply of things.
That blanket itself may have had trace evidence, right?
Overruled. He's already testified to this.
Would it be proper to leave that blanket at the scene and not take it as evidence?
That was a determination that was made by my partner.
And my question is, would it be proper?
That would depend on the circumstances. It could be, it couldn't be.
What's your opinion?
I don't think I would have taken it either. I would have probably made the same determination my partner did.
Certainly.
You testified regarding West Tech, that West Tech came on their own while you were at this Rockingham scene. Is that correct?
There was a unit, yes, that was traveling southbound on Rockingham that was waved down by Detective Phillips.
Who were the occupants of that vehicle?
It was a one-man unit, and I don't recall the private security officer's name.
Did you also cause West Tech to be called and ask for a unit to be sent out?
I asked Detective Phillips to contact them to see if we could get any information regarding the estate there, yes.
And did he?
To my knowledge, he did,
And
yes.
did he ask, to your knowledge, for a unit to be sent out?
I think that occurred when he was talking to the first unit there regarding a phone number. I think that unit requested a supervisor be sent to the location.
What time was that?
Would have been around, I believe, around 5:30 in the morning, something like that.
What time did that unit arrive?
Within a very short time.
Do you know what time Sergeant Rossi called West Tech?
No, I do not.
Do you have any documents in your murder book to refresh your recollection as to what time Sergeant Rossi called West Tech? Oh, well,
Yes, I'm sure there's documents in there, yes.
if I showed you that, would that help you?
Yes.
Let me show you page 0641 of your murder book. Have you seen that document before?
Yes.
Is that a document from your murder book?
Yes.
And does that refresh your memory as to what time Sergeant Rossi called West Tech?
This is a handwritten note that someone made. I believe there's an actual timed transcript that would show the times, but this indicates that
Sustained. It's just used to refresh his recollection.
Does it refresh your memory as to what time West Tech was called?
Objection, I never had the original information.
Oh, well, he indicated it would refresh his recollection.
My question is, does it?
when they were first called.
When they were called by LAPD?
Well, I didn't make the phone calls. I believe the first phone call was made approximately 5:15 to 5:30.
I'm asking you if this document, sir, refreshes your recollection.
No, this is notes. This doesn't mean anything.
Whose notes are those?
I don't know.
Why are they in the murder book?
I don't know.
Who put them in the murder book?
Obviously, we did. They came from someone. Maybe Sergeant Rossi, I don't know.
Well, Sergeant Rossi, if he made those notes, would be in the course of his official duties. Is that correct?
I don't know whose notes those are.
And don't those notes indicate that the call was made? Would it be important for you to check on this information since it differs from the testimony evidence?
Objection.
Sustained. I'm curious to disregard the implication of the question.
Your Honor, when you returned did you ever return to the Bundy crime scene prior to the tape being removed?
Yes, I did.
When was that?
It was on 2 occasions. I stopped there on my way from Rockingham to West Los Angeles Station to inform my partner of what I was preparing to do.
And that was? To get a search warrant?
Yes. And then I stopped back by there on my way back to Rockingham with the warrant to inform my partner of what was going on.
I want to direct your attention to the grand jury testimony you gave in this case, page 336. Page 337. I've given counsel a copy. Do you recall testifying before a grand jury in this case?
Yes.
And when you testify before the grand jury, there's no lawyer representing the,
Objection, this is irrelevant, Your Honor.
Sustained.
when you testified before the grand jury, were you asked some questions by a district attorney?
Yes.
By whom?
Miss Clark.
And did Ms. Clark ask you the following questions? I believe you indicated that you went to secure a search warrant for the location of 360 Rockingham. Answer, that's correct. And then she asked, and what happened next? Do you recall that?
That's possible, yes.
And you recall your answer, after securing the warrant, I returned to the Rockingham location?
That's what I ultimately did.
You didn't mention anything that you went to Bundy next?
No, what I ultimately did was I returned to the Rockingham location.
And when you were at Bundy, did you ever walk into any areas containing potential evidence while the crime scene was still secure?
That's possible at one point, yes. I may have.
Did you walk into any blood evidence while the crime scene was still secure?
No, sir.
May we show the video, please?
Have we marked this?
Yes, this should be 1049?
1059.
1059, I'm sorry. Excuse me. May we stop that right there, please? Can you identify the people in that video?
You want to run it back?
Can you identify the people in that video, sir?
Yes, I saw three people from the start. It was myself, Lieutenant Rogers, and Criminalist Fun.
Can you identify the person that appears to be standing on a sheet covered with blood?
Yes, that's myself.
Thank you. You examined the index finger of Mr. Simpson and observed it to have a cut, which you've demonstrated here. Is that correct?
Yes.
And I take it you examined the left-hand glove at Bundy. Is that correct?
I didn't. I had it examined.
And was a cut found on the left-hand glove at Bundy that would be in the area of the cut on O.J. Simpson's left hand?
No.
Nothing further.
Mr. Darden?
Detective Van Adder, there was no cut on the left-hand glove that you found at Bundy?
No.
But there was a cut on the defendant's hand when you first saw him.
Objection. We didn't.
Sustained.
Was there a cut on the defendant's hand when you first saw him?
Yes.
And what significance, if any, do you attach to it?
Well, I believe the way the cut occurred during the...
Objection, speculation.
Oh, well,
I believe during the struggle, the left-hand glove was lost and dropped on the ground, and that's when the cut occurred, when the hands were not protected.
Okay. So is it significant then, significant at all, that there was no cut on the left-handed glove as described by Mr. Shapiro?
No, there's no significance to that.
Mr. Shapiro, I asked you yesterday if you found any bloody clothing at the defendant's home. You recall that question?
Yes, I do.
And what was your answer at the time?
Yes.
What bloody clothing was found by the LAPD at the defendant's home?
A pair of the defendant's socks from his bedroom.
Were those socks submitted for testing, if you know?
Yes.
They tested for blood.
Yes.
Do you know whether or not Nicole Brown's blood was found in those socks?
Sustained.
Were those socks tested for the presence of Nicole Brown's blood?
Yes.
Were they tested for the presence of Ronald Goldman's blood?
Overruled.
Yes.
And were they tested for the presence of the defendant's blood?
Yes.
And are you aware of what the test findings are as they relate to the socks?
He can answer yes or no, but the results are hearsay.
Yes.
You have told us that at some point, or at one point on June 13, you considered the defendant a suspect. Is that right?
Yes.
Given your awareness of the test findings, that is the testing of the socks in this case,
Sustain the court's own objection. I assume we'll get to that eventually.
thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
You watched Detective Furman testify, is that correct?
Part of it, yes, not all of it.
And you've testified here in court today and yesterday, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And while you were watching Detective Furman testify, was there a point where you felt that his recall was different from yours?
I think that happens in every case. I think that's a normal thing.
Okay.
Two people don't perceive the same thing or the same occurrence the same way.
We don't all remember the same things.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Did you attempt to shift or change your testimony or modify your future testimony to fit Detective Furman's?
No, sir. My testimony is based on my recollection of the events.
You didn't send a SWAT team into the defendant's home?
I did not,
Why not?
because I didn't know what I had there. If I had known that he was a murder suspect at that point, or known that someone was a hostage at that point, that would have been handled as a field tactical situation. To call in people at that point without knowing what I had there would have been a tremendous drain and waste of manpower, and before you do that, you have to determine what you're dealing with in a field situation.
Well, had you considered the defendant a suspect at 5 o'clock that morning?
No, sir.
You did not?
No.
Well, had you considered him a suspect, would you have approached his home or his residence in a manner different from the approach you and the other detectives used?
Absolutely.
What differences would you have considered?
You're dealing with a felony suspect at that point. I would have had the detectives put on protective armor. I would have had us put on raid jackets that identifies us as Los Angeles police officers. I would have had uniformed officers accompany me. I would have had officers stationed at the front and the rear of the location to preclude any possible escape. And if I would have determined that he was in and he didn't answer the door, I would have forced entry into the location.
And you didn't do any of that in this case?
I did not, no, sir.
You testified that you asked Cato Kalin if there was an extra set of keys to the Bronco.
Yes.
Was that before or after Detective Furman advised you that he had found the glove at the defendant's home?
Was after.
Now, you described for us already the blood trail from the Bronco leading into the defendant's front door. Is that correct, Detective?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you've also described for us your finding of the glove, or rather your viewing of the glove, on the south side of the defendant's property, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you didn't find any blood drops in the area of the glove found at Rockingham?
I did not.
But you did find blood drops at Bundy?
Yes.
Now, what is the surface composed of? That is the surface at Bundy where you found blood drops.
It's a cement walkway that runs on the north side of the residence and runs east and west from the front walkway to the alley.
Okay. And the surface where you found, or rather where Detective Furman found the glove at Rockingham, what is that surface composed of?
That's also a cement surface that's on the south side of the residence that was heavily covered with debris and leaves and
Can you pull up it? We can just pull up 116, Your Honor, the glove board.
Yes, Mr. Chartlow?
Showing you people's 116, Detective.
May I step down?
Are the leaves on the walkway as depicted in those photographs, Detective?
Yes, sir.
They're all over the place, aren't they?
Yes, sir, they are.
Did you pick up each and every leaf on the south side of that property and examine it?
I did not, no, sir.
Did you turn each leaf over and examine it?
No, I did not.
You told Mr. Shapiro that you found no blood on the fence or on the gate or on the wall.
That's correct.
That is in the south side area, south side of the defendant's property.
That's correct.
Okay. Step back up, please.
Thank you.
But you did find blood in the driveway.
At Rockingham, yes.
Is it your opinion that the person who dropped the glove climbed over the fence at Rockingham?
It's leading. Is it your opinion that? It's leading.
Do you have an opinion as to how the person who dropped the glove at Rockingham entered the property?
Overruled.
Yes.
How?
I believe he used a key to come through the Rockingham gate after parking the vehicle on the street there just north of the gate. Walked down to the south side of the house.
Which gate are you referring to?
The Rockingham gate.
Did you have a key to the Rockingham gate?
No.
In addition to not, we'll strike that. The person that dropped the glove at Rockingham, do you know whether or not that person was actually bleeding as they walked along the south side of the house?
I'm going to object, Your Honor.
Basis.
Speculation.
Sustained.
Do you know whether or not the person that dropped the glove at Rockingham was bleeding at the time?
Objection.
Sustained.
Do you know whether or not the person who dropped the glove at Rockingham had his left hand in his pocket at some point?
Sustained.
Do you know whether or not that person was carrying anything?
Objection.
Sustained. Proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. You told us that you did not find or have not found the murder weapon.
That's correct.
Is that uncommon in a situation like this? That is not to find the murder weapon?
No, that's not uncommon at all.
you surprised at all that you haven't found the murder weapon?
No.
Why not?
The knife is a very easy item to dispose of. It can be disposed of any place. I have cases that I've never found the bodies on, so it's not unusual not to find a murder weapon.
Do you know whether or not the person that committed these murders had the opportunity to dispose of the murder weapon?
Sustained.
What time did you arrive at the murder scene?
At Bundy,
Yes.
4:05 in the morning.
And what time did you first make contact with the defendant?
Personal contact?
Yes.
Shortly after 12 noon the following day, or the same day, I'm sorry,
Okay.
the 13th of June.
And did you have the defendant under surveillance between 10 p.m. Sunday night and 12 noon the following Monday?
No, sir.
You told us that you took no notes upon your initial arrival at Rockingham. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Is that unusual or uncommon that under these circumstances you did not take notes upon your arrival at Rockingham?
It was not unusual. After arriving there and to merely make a death notification, the situation quickly escalated into what I considered an emergency situation, and I didn't have time to take notes. We noted the time that we left to go to Rockingham in our chronological, which covered it.
And the phone calls that you and Detective Phillips made that day, are those calls logged somewhere?
I didn't make any, but there's phone bills on the phone calls that Detective Phillips made, yes.
Okay. And the evidence that was observed at Rockingham that day, has that evidence been preserved somehow?
Yes.
And did you memorialize somehow where and under what circumstances the evidence was found?
Yes.
How'd you do that?
It's memorialized in the follow-up report, it's memorialized in the search warrant, and it's memorialized by the criminalist who I directed to protect and recover the evidence.
And is it memorialized in photographs as well?
Definitely, yes. That is part of the criminalist's function also with the photographer.
When you were on the every occurrence that may happen during the day?
No, sir, that would almost be impossible. We would be doing nothing but making notes if we did that.
Well, with regard to the drawing of the blood, that is the sample drawn from the defendant, is the date and time of that occurrence memorialized somewhere, somehow?
Yes, it is.
Where?
It's memorialized on the consent form that was signed by Mr. Simpson.
Okay. And the date and time on which you gave that blood vial to the criminalist, Mr. Fung, is that memorialized somewhere?
Yes, sir, it is.
Where?
It's memorialized in Mr. Fung's notes.
Is there anything improper at all about your transporting the blood vial from Parker Center out to Rockingham to the criminalist, Mr. Fung?
Objection. Grounds. Overruled.
No, I'm one of the detectives in charge of the investigation. It's my responsibility to make sure that the evidence is collected and secured.
What was the first thing you wrote on the morning of June 13th?
I believe the first thing I wrote was my arrival time at Bundy, and then after that I began to write a statement on Cato Kalin.
Did you preserve those notes?
Yes,
And what was the next thing that you wrote?
the search warrant.
What time, if you recall, was it that you first saw the glove at Rockingham?
I believe it was approximately 6:15 to 6:30.
And what time did you begin writing the search warrant?
Between 7:45 and 8 o'clock.
And was the search warrant the second thing, or rather the third thing that you wrote that morning?
Yes.
Did you describe the glove at Rockingham in the search warrant?
Yes.
Did you describe having seen the Bronco in the search warrant?
Yes.
Did you describe having seen blood on the outside of the Bronco?
Yes.
Did you indicate that one of the detectives ran the plate on the Bronco to see who it was registered to?
Yes.
Did you indicate whether or not the glove found at Rockingham resembled the glove at Bundy?
Yes.
Does the glove at Rockingham resemble the glove at Bundy?
Appears to be a matched pair.
Certainly.
I'd like to mark a board next in order. I've already shown it to defense counsel.
125.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Detective, I'm going to ask you to step down. Take a look at those photographs. Tell us whether or not they depict the glove found at Rockingham and the one found at Bundy.
Yes, they do.
Do you know whether or not each of those gloves were submitted for testing?
Yes.
The glove at Bundy was submitted for testing?
Yes.
And are you aware of those results?
Yes.
Did you indicate in the search warrant affidavit that you observed blood droplets leading from the Bronco to the front door of Mr. Simpson's residence?
Yes.
Did you indicate that you've spoken to Arnell Simpson?
Yes.
Did you indicate that you...
Did Arnie, you can use this anymore? All right, why don't we do that, and then we'll take our recess for the morning. Two seconds. All right, thank you, gentlemen. Just a second. I'm going to excuse the jury first.
I was going to say before the jury's excused.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our recess for the morning session. Please remember all of my admonitions to you. Don't discuss the case amongst yourselves, form any opinions about the case, don't allow anybody to communicate with you Do not perform any deliberations until the matter has been submitted to you. We'll reconvene promptly at 1:30. Detective Van Adder, you may step down. 1:30, sir. All right, we'll stand in recess. Thank you.
And Mr. Arvidsson said that needed to be on the record, so released to us for copying and then returning to the court.
All right, so stipulated by the parties? All right.
Thank you.
The manuals arrived.
Yes, they did. Sure. Why don't we take care of that when we conclude? All right, let's have the jurors, please. Please. Let the record reflect that we've been joined by all members of our jury panel. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Detective Philip Van Adder is on the witness stand undergoing redirect examination by Mr. Darden. Good afternoon again, Detective Van Adder.
Good afternoon, sir.
You're reminded you're still under oath. Mr. Darden, you may conclude with your redirect examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective, during Mr. Shapiro's cross-examination, you testified that you did not expect to see any injuries on Mr. Simpson's body.
I think I testified I didn't see any on his body, yes, other than his left hand.
Okay. Did you expect to see injuries on his body?
No.
Why not?
Well, from what I could see of his face and his arms, he didn't have any injuries other than to his left hand. He had on a short-sleeve shirt. And from looking at the victims, it appeared to me that injuries received to the hands and arms of Ronald Goldman were defensive wounds, which defensive wounds are wounds where you're trying to ward something off. You're not being offensive and striking out.
You told us a little while ago as well. Can I have one moment, Charlie?
Certainly.
You've seen photographs I take it of Ron Goldman that indicate cuts or abrasions near the knuckles on one of his hands,
Yes.
if not both hands. And what significance, if any, do you attach to those injuries?
The bruises on his hands?
Yeah, on Mr. Goldman's hands.
The bruises could have occurred while he was falling, while his arms were being flailed around. They could have hit the shrubbery, the trees, the metal fence. I didn't notice bruises directly over the knuckles, on top of the knuckles, that would be common if he had struck a hard object with a closed fist.
Okay. And to go back to the search warrant for a moment. When you wrote the search warrant and gave it to the magistrate, did you indicate in the search warrant that you had gone to Rockingham to make a notification?
Yes.
Can I have one moment, Charlie?
Certainly.
Mark, next in order.
Peoples 126 and 127.
Showing you People's 126, detective.
Courtroom counsel, one, please. Name on it.
What is shown in that photograph, detective?
That's a portion of the defendant's bedroom, showing the foot of the bed, and at the foot of the bed is a rug over the carpeting with a pair of socks there.
And 127? What's shown there?
That's a close-up of the pair of socks that were seen in the previous picture.
Were those socks seized?
Yes, they were.
And did you find a blood trail at all in the defendant's bedroom?
Yes.
All I have, thank you.
Mr. Shapiro?
I'm sorry.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. You have assumed that the victim, Mr. Goldman, did not hit the perpetrator of the crime. Is that correct?
I don't know that that's an assumption. There could have been a meeting of the two people, but the injuries appeared to me to be defensive injuries, and
Yeah.
defensive injuries are usually sustained by holding the arms up or trying to grab something, such as the weapon that's being used on you.
You've been investigating this case for 9 months.
Yes.
Do you have any information as to whether or not Mr. Goldman, before he died, attempted to strike his assailant?
No, I don't.
Do you have any information if he struck his assailant?
No, I don't.
Is that something you'd want to know?
I'm only going on what I can see.
Is that something you'd want to know?
Well, the only way that would be known is if I could ask the assailant or Mr. Goldman, I would think.
Is that something you would like to investigate?
It's something I would like to know, yes.
And is one way of finding that out by looking at suspects to see if they have any wounds that might be consistent with being hit in a fight?
That's one way of finding out if a person has been hit, yes.
Now, you have just made up your mind that these injuries to Mr. Goldman were occurred when he was falling down, haven't you?
No, not at all.
You don't have any basis for that opinion, do you, in science?
Other than seeing defensive wounds many, many times, they appeared to be defensive wounds.
And you can tell a defensive wound from an offensive wound?
Well, normally defensive wounds occur to the hands and arms, yes.
May I approach the witness for a moment, Your Honor?
You may.
I have a bruise on my hand.
We'll have Mr. Shapiro marked as...
Can I be marked as an exhibit? Can I ask him if he has an opinion as to whether this is an offensive or defensive wound?
I agree.
Do you have those photographs? Some photographs.
All right, do you want to tell me? All right.
This is marked 126, we'll mark ours 1060 and 1061.
1060 and 1061.
You know when photograph 126 was taken that Mr. Darden showed you, sir?
It was taken after the search warrant was secured, I would assume.
You would assume?
Yes. I wasn't there when the actual search was done.
I know, but there are logs for these things, aren't they, called photo logs?
I think the photographer does them by number, yeah. I don't know that they're timed.
Well, wait. You're the chief investigator, are you not?
One of them, yes.
And you want to know when photographs are taken if you're not there to take them, don't you?
Well, I know they were taken on the 13th of June.
No, my question is, do you want to know when photographs are taken? You can answer that yes or no like you answer Mr. Darden's questions.
This is argumentative, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Can you answer that yes or no?
I know they were taken on the 13th.
No, my question is, is it important for you to know when photographs are taken by photographers or criminalists?
The exact time?
Yes.
No.
Is it important to know the approximate time?
I know they were taken on the 13th of June. The time itself, that's a recordation of evidence that's discovered. The time is, on the photograph, to me, is not important.
Let me see if I can make myself more clear, because I'm obviously not communicating this thought to you, or this question.
Sustained. Mr.
Can you,
Earl.
generically, not specifically, as a general principle for a lead investigator in a case, is it important for you to know when photographs are taken for which you are not present? You can answer that yes or no, can't you?
Yes.
It's important to know. And is there such a thing in your practice known as a photo log?
I think that's a recordation of the number of photos, yes.
Is there also something in your practice known as recording when photographs are taken? So somebody can refer to a picture and say, this was taken at a certain day, at a certain time, at a certain place.
I'm not aware of that.
And you've never used that in your experience?
Not time, no.
No investigators, to your knowledge, in LAPD are supposed to have photographs done in a way that they can tell when they were taken?
Well, I know when it was taken.
No, I didn't ask you when this picture, I'm not talking about this picture, okay? We're just talking about pictures in general. All right?
That's recorded by the photographer.
And does he give you a list so you can tell when the pictures are taken? That was my question.
Yes, but not to time. I'm not aware of time.
Okay, so he tells you what day they were taken, but not what time they were taken,
The date and the location, yes.
but not the time. So you don't know if
Not-
it's day or night.
Well, I think that would be evident from the photograph.
May we put these photographs up on the Elmo, please? Right. You see the photograph that Mr. Darden showed you, which is in the upper right-hand corner, is that correct?
Yes.
And you've told us that was taken on the 13th after the execution of the search warrant. Is that correct?
That was taken on the 13th, I believe, after the execution, or when the search warrant was returned to the location, yes.
You believe, but you're not sure.
No, I'm not positive. I wasn't there, but I believe it was after the search warrant was brought back.
And you have no notes or any other type of official documents available to you to tell when that photograph was taken, do you?
Not the time, no.
Okay. Now I want you to look in the upper left-hand corner. That's a photograph that was taken by your photographer, is it not?
Yes.
When was that photograph taken?
That would have been on the 13th also.
Was that taken at the same time?
I would say that is a overall, and then the two follow photo-ups were done probably at the same time, yes. That's showing an overall of the room.
I want to direct your attention, if I might now, to, let me just direct your attention to the photograph that was shown by Mr. Darden, the upper right-hand side. Do you see the foot of the bed in that photograph?
Yes.
And do you see any straps hanging over the foot of the bed?
No.
Now I want to direct you to the other two photographs, the one in the upper left-hand side. Do you see the straps there?
It would appear it's hanging over, yes.
How did that happen?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Is that something that would be disturbing a crime scene?
I don't know the reason it was moved, but disturbing a crime scene, it was obviously moved for some reason. I don't know why.
Should the photographer move those?
No, he shouldn't.
Have you noticed this before?
Yes, I've seen this before.
And have you made inquiry as to why it was moved?
No, I haven't.
Why not?
I haven't.
Well, I know you haven't, but why haven't you?
I just haven't. I didn't see any need to.
I want to direct your attention now to the carpet that the socks are lying on. The carpet in the room is a little bit lighter than in the photograph, is it not?
Then which photograph? It's different shades in all the photographs it would appear to be.
All right, would you describe the color of the carpet as you remember it?
I remember it as a light gray.
And did you find any blood stains on that carpet?
No,
Did you take that carpet for evidence?
no,
Did you examine that carpet for footwear impression evidence?
not to my knowledge, no.
What about the carpet in the room? What color is that?
I think that's what I described. I recall it as either a light tan or light gray.
Okay, now what about the throw carpet that the socks are on, that are on top of the carpet in the room?
That appears to be two-tone, maybe brown and light tan or something like that.
Was there any blood on that carpet?
I don't recall any being there, no.
Was that carpet seized?
No,
Was there any effort made to preserve that carpet for footwear impression evidence?
no,
The socks that were there, isn't it true that when those socks were recovered on the 13th, that there was no evidence of blood on those socks?
no evidence of blood on the 13th?
Yes, on those socks.
Sustained.
Have you reviewed the reports in this case regarding those socks?
Yes,
What reports have you reviewed?
I saw the scientific reports on them.
And have you seen the field notes that were done by Mr. Fung at your direction on the 13th?
I've seen them in the past, yes.
Would it refresh your memory to look at them again?
Yes,
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
Are those the field notes you've looked at before?
yes, I've seen these.
In reviewing that, does that refresh your memory as to whether or not any blood was observed on those socks on the 13th?
Sustained.
Your Honor, may I be heard on this, please?
Certainly. proceed.
You directed the chemist, I'm sorry, you directed the criminalist, Mr. Fung, to do certain tests for blood on the 13th, did you not?
Yes,
And many items were tested for blood, were they not?
yes,
In fact, 13 items that you had interest in were tested for blood at Rockingham, is that correct?
I don't know the exact number.
Did you ever see the socks on the 13th?
No, I
Did
did
Mr.
not.
Fung ever report to you seeing any blood on the socks on the 13th?
Sustained.
Did you order Mr. Fung to phenotest the socks on the 13th?
No, I did not.
Isn't it true that's the only item that was recovered on the 13th from the bedroom area that was not phenotested?
Overruled. If you know,
I don't know that.
proceed.
Did you find any blood on the steps leading up to Mr. Simpson's bedroom?
No, sir.
Did you preserve that area of the house for footwear impression evidence?
No.
Nothing further.
Darden?
Detective, with regard to the rugs and the carpeting and other items that you left at Rockingham, you left those in the defendant's custody, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and so the rug that we saw depicted in the photographs is still there?
Should be.
Now, Mr. Shapiro just showed you 3 different photographs, is that right?
Yes.
And these photographs were taken during the search, is that right?
Yes.
Is it common to move things when police officers are in the process of conducting a search for evidence?
Overruled.
Yes, it's common to move things. You need to move things to search.
And could that be a reasonable explanation as to why the straps are...
That's
In that case, Your Honor, nothing further.
Thank you. On that issue, Mr. Shapiro?
Nothing further.
Right, thank you. All right, Detective Van Adder, you may step down, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next witness. Certainly.
We approach for a moment, Your Honor.
Without the reporter, please. people's next witness, please?
Sitting right here, Your Honor. Detective Lang, briefly.
Recall Detective Lang.
Court's permission.
All right, Detective, would you retake the witness stand, please? Good afternoon again, Detective Lang.
Afternoon, Your Honor.
Detective, you're reminded that you are still under oath, having not been released as a witness yet in this matter.
Yes.
Mr. Darden, briefly.
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective Lang, you testified already, I believe, that you were shown the glove Detective Furman found on the south walkway.
Yes.
Okay. And sometime after that, on June 13, did you check any doors leading out to the south walkway?
Yes, subsequent to Detective Furman showing me the glove, I checked 2 doors on the south side of the residence. One that I believe went into the laundry room area of the residence, and a second door that appeared to go into the garage.
And when you say that you checked those doors, what do you mean by that?
I checked them to see if whether or not they were locked, and they both were locked.
Okay. And did you write any report to that effect?
No.
Thank you.
Mr. Cochran, any cross as to that item?
Yes. May I have that, I'd like to have the poster put up. Close the door.
Mr. Douglas, you can assist us here?
Good afternoon again, Detective Lang.
Good afternoon.
Would you mind stepping down and showing us where this door into the garage is located? And you can mark that by using one of these arrows, if it's okay.
Seems to me it was right in this general area here.
Going into the garage, is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
All right, that's just your independent recollection now, months later, is that correct?
Yes.
You have no reports to refresh your recollection, do you?
No.
All right, so that we're clear, and while you're standing here, with regard to your checking these doors, at what time of day on June 13th did this take place?
It's just subsequent to Detective Furman pointing out the glove, so it was approximately 6:25 in the morning, I believe, give or take a few minutes.
On the 13th?
Yes.
And from what I understand, you testified, these doors were locked, is that correct?
Yes.
In other words, did they have a key which would activate those doors?
I don't recall specifically, but I believe the knobs were smooth, so there wouldn't be anything in there. And I believe that they may have been a deadbolt lock, but I'm not certain.
Did you ever, you may resume your seat. Did you ever go around to the other side of the garage, inside the garage, and see whether or not you could unlock that door from the inside?
The garage door, no, I didn't.
Did you ever go inside the residence on that morning and see whether or not you could open the door into the side, the second door, and come outside?
I did check that door in the laundry room, and again, I believe there was an inside deadbolt lock, but I'm not certain.
Do you have any photographs of how that existed and how it appeared at that time?
I don't know if there are any photographs that were taken of that area. I didn't direct any.
And you've not seen any, have you?
There may not be.
All right, so your best recollection is presently that there are 2 doors on the south side of the residence, which you saw that morning, correct?
Yes,
You could not gain entry into those doors, is that correct?
that's correct.
As we sit here now, you can't tell us whether or not a key might have activated either one of those 2 doors, is that correct?
Again, my recollection is that the knobs were smooth-faced, but I believe there was a deadbolt in at least the utility room door. So it's possible that a key could have activated that door, yes.
The second door, the one into the washing room there? The laundry room?
Yes, but again, I'm not certain.
All right. So you're not clear on that, is that correct?
No.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. Darden? Certainly.
Detective Lang, I'd like to show you a photograph and see if this will refresh your recollection regarding the,
You may.
for the record, this is photograph 148.
Should I have all three?
He's looking at photographs 146 and 147 as well, Your Honor. These are
Noted.
photograph numbers and not evidence item numbers.
Yes, it appears to be the inside of the Rockingham garage, and there is the door pictured there, but I do not recall physically checking it,
Physically checking what?
the door.
Did you go inside the garage?
Yes.
Did you see anything in front of the side garage door?
Or we'll
There was quite a bit of items stacked in there, yes.
The same items depicted in photograph 148?
It's the same. Rephrase the question, please.
The items that you just described, do you see those items depicted in any of the three photographs I just showed you to refresh your recollection?
There are several items there, and that is my recollection. As to the specific items, I don't recall, but I do recall it being similar to that photograph at that date, yes.
May I mark photograph number 148, People's Next in order?
128.
And may I place that photograph on the Elmo?
You may. It's his, that's true, that's true. Client needs to see it. Just so ladies and gentlemen of the jury know, it's just a common courtesy to show the exhibits to opposing counsel before you show it to the witness of the jury, so everybody knows what we're talking about.
There's a question regarding these photographs. Let me approach on the record for a moment.
You want to take the witness on board diary to that photograph?
Yes, I'd like to.
Proceed.
Thank you very kindly. Detective Lang, the three photographs which have been shown to you who are numbered DA photo numbers 146, 147, and 148, can you tell us what date those photographs were taken on?
No, I can't.
And
Seems to me there were photographs taken on the 13th, though, of the entire house.
I missed that last answer. I'm sorry.
Seems to me there were photographs taken on the 13th of June. I don't believe there's a date on that, though.
Do you know whether or not these particular photographs were taken on June 13th?
No, looking at those, I don't. I would have to look into that further.
If I were to tell you these photographs were taken in July, would that refresh your recollection?
It's possible.
And do you know whether or not Mr. Simpson's son, Jason, seated in the front row there, had moved into the residence by that time and moved things into the garage by July of 1994?
Well, Mr. Carrigan, I allowed you to take him on board as the foundation for the
Well,
photographs, since it's not established at this point.
Well, I think this goes to foundational questions, Your Honor, with regard to whether it's in the same condition it was on June 13th. That's the question.
Well, I think we're going beyond what I need to know.
Okay. Very well.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to lodge an objection, Your Honor, to the photographs at this point regarding foundation.
Noted. Mr. Darden?
Can we display the photograph to the jury, Your Honor?
I've got a foundational problem at this point.
The witnesses testify. Would you like me to argue the issue from here? Let me ask another question.
Please.
Okay. Is this the way you remember the garage on June 13th, Detective?
Object from that question. That's what you suggested.
Sustained. Rephrase the question. I think we've already got that question and answer, though.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Well, there was no objection. All right. I think you need more foundation.
were photographs taken on June 13, Detective?
Yes,
Did you go inside the garage?
yes.
And did you have some recall as to the items you saw in front of the side garage door?
Overruled.
I do recall items in front of the door. Again, as to the specific items, I do not have an independent recollection.
Okay. Do these appear to be the same items?
Overruled.
It's very possible.
And having looked at these photographs, do they refresh your recollection as to which items you saw in front of the side garage door?
I do recall various items. They do look familiar, but again, I don't have a specific recollection in front of the door.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else? All right. Detective Lang, you may step down. However, you are still subject to recall.
Thank you.
All right. Next witness. Ms. Clark.
Yes, Your Honor. You can call Mr. Keenan. Brian Keenan.
All right. Is he available?
Board to defense before Mr. Keenan.
A board?
Pardon?
I'm sorry.
Boards,
Boards.
plural.
All right. Let me ask the jurors then to step back into the jury room briefly. It should be only about 5 minutes just to look at some exhibits, and then we'll start with the witness. Ms. Clark.
Yes, Your Honor. People call Mr. Kalen?
Raise your right hand, please. You do solemnly swear that the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please have a seat on the witness stand and state and spell your first and last names for the record.
Mr. Kalen, why don't you pull the microphone close to you there? Thank you. Ms. Clark. I'm sorry. Forgot to ask him to state and spell his name.
Brian Cato Kalen, B-R-I-A-N, K-A-T-O, K-A-E-L-I-N.
Ms. Clark.
All right, Mr. Kalen, is Cato your middle name?
A nickname,
Is that what people call you instead of Brian?
yes.
You a little bit nervous today?
Feel great. A little nervous.
All right, Mr. Kalen, did you know someone by the name of Nicole Brown Simpson back in 1992?
Yes.
Can you tell us, please, how you met her?
In Aspen, Colorado.
And what was the event?
It was like a Christmas break, and I went with a buddy, and we met
And what month was that, if you recall?
December.
Who was the buddy you were with that when you met Nicole Brown?
Grant Kramer?
Did you get involved in some kind of romantic relationship with her?
Did I?
Did you?
No.
Did you become friends?
Yes.
Did you have occasion to see her again after you met her in December of 1992 in Aspen?
Yes, I saw her again in Aspen.
In Aspen?
Oh, throughout the trip, yes. And then after that, also.
Well, how long was that trip in Aspen in December of 92?
I think 7 days, about. It's like a week.
And did you all spend that whole week together?
Off and on, yes.
And that, when I say you all, who was all of you together?
Quite a few people. But basically it was myself, Grant Kramer, Faye Resnick was there, and Nicole, and other people that the names I can't think of them right now, but other people.
Now, at that time, sir, was Nicole Brown already divorced? You can answer.
Oh, I believe so, yes.
After seeing her and meeting her in Aspen in December of 1992, after that trip, when was the next time you saw Nicole Brown?
I saw her pretty much in January at her house that was on Gretna Green.
January of 93, is that?
Yes,
And is that in Brentwood, that house on Gretna Green?
yes.
And what could cause you to go to her house in Brentwood?
There was a party, and I was invited to go.
When you saw her at that party, I take it.
Yes.
And can you describe for us the layout of that house on Gretna Green?
Okay. Want me to start from the driveway?
Actually, no, we don't have to be that specific. Was there a main house?
Okay. You walk into a kind of foyer. There would be like a den, the living room to the right, kitchen, and other rooms, and upstairs.
All right. And you have a front door to that house, do you?
Yes.
Does it face the street?
Yes.
Is there a picture window that faces the street on that house?
Yes.
And that picture window looks into what room?
The living room.
Is there a rear entry into the house?
It's a side and a rear. Two rear that would go to the kitchen, and one goes to a den, and one goes to another bedroom. In the back.
In the back?
Right.
So are there three entrances besides the front door, are there three other entrances to the house?
4.
4.
There's a side door in the front that goes to the kitchen.
Okay.
You walk the back, then you have the back doors to the kitchen, then you have back double doors to the den, and then there's another bedroom that has double doors also.
Okay. What kind of doors are those?
Like French doors? They're double doors?
All of the ones in the back there?
No. Oh, yes.
Are they?
Except the one in the front kitchen. It's a single door.
Okay. You mean the side door to the kitchen?
Side
That's a
door.
single door? Is that yes?
Yes, that's yes.
Okay. And then do you have the double doors that you referred to in the back that lead into the kitchen, the den, and a bedroom? Are those all French doors?
Yes.
Okay. Now, is there any yard area, the property that belongs to the house that's located behind the house?
A pool, a small yard, and there's a guest house.
Now, when you went to the property, when you went to that Gretna Green house, to the party given by Nicole Brown, did you notice that guest house in the rear of the property?
Yes, I did.
Can you tell us whether you had a discussion with her about that guest house in the rear?
I did.
What was the nature of it, of your discussion?
I said, Nicole, who lives back there? And she said, no one. And then I said, could I? And she says, well, if you do, you have to clean it out. And I said, great.
Was
And
it not clean at that time?
There was furniture in there, treadmill, and a few other things. And that was it.
So did you make some agreement with her concerning paying rent, living there?
Yes.
What was your agreement?
It'd be $450 to $500 for rent, and then take care of the kids. Nicole would take things off, and that was it. And
When you say take
it-
things off, if you took care of the children, would your rent be reduced?
Yes.
And your agreement was to pay her how much per month?
It was between $450 to $500.
Depending on how much you took care of the children?
Yes.
And by the children, who are we referring to?
Sydney and Justin.
And who lived in the main house at Gretna Green?
Nicole and Sydney and Justin.
That's it?
Yes.
So when did you move into the Gretna Green house?
It was January, kind of the middle of January, I think, pretty, right around there,
Of 1993?
of 93.
Now, during that time, did you have occasion to meet Mr. Simpson?
Not in January, I think it was in February. I don't know the exact date.
Sometime in February of 1993?
Yes.
And when I say Mr. Simpson, is that someone you see in court today, sir?
Yes, sir, Jay.
Point them out, please.
There. So,
Thank you. Okay, and how was it you met him? What was the occasion?
oh, he came by.
To the house on Gretna Green?
2000 Gretna Green.
How long did you live at that house on Gretna Green?
Until January of 94, the beginning of January. Right then I left.
Can you tell us exactly what it was that happened to cause you to move out in January of 1994?
Okay, what happened was I was going to move to Bundy with Nicole, and
Okay, let me ask you
Okay.
another question, sir. I'm sorry. Did Nicole Brown decide to move out of Gretna Green in 1994?
yes,
And did she find another location to live in?
yes,
And where was that?
on Bundy,
Do you recall the address?
I think 875,
Did you see the location?
yes.
Have a moment, Your Honor. Tell us, sir, whether that was a house, a freestanding house, or a townhouse, or a duplex. Do you remember?
It was a townhouse,
And was it a single unit or multiple units?
multiple units.
How many?
I think 4. I don't know the number.
Did you actually see the location?
Yes,
And how was it that you came to see that location?
because I was going to move there.
So you went to see where you'd live?
Yes.
Now, where would you have stayed in the Bundy location?
Okay, there's a room that goes kind of its own side entrance. It goes down, and there's a room that's off to the side. That's kind of, it's in the house, but it's to the side.
Is it on the lowest level?
Yes.
And does it have a window that faces a walkway?
There's a walkway, so I don't remember a window, but there probably was.
If you were to walk in through the garage area, would you have to go downstairs to go to the area where you were going to live?
I don't remember, but I know it had its own entrance. That was part of it, that it had an entrance. And I don't remember the layout that well.
Okay, the area then where you were going to live on the lowest level of the house, did it have its own bathroom?
Yes.
So, and what else did it have that would be private just for you?
Closets, bedroom, bathroom.
That was it?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Now, was that location inside the house itself?
Yes.
This was not a separate guest unit like it was at Gretna Green?
Exactly.
And were you planning to pay her rent there?
Yeah, yes.
I'm going to show you a photograph, sir, and ask you if you recognize the building.
All right, Ms. Clark, do we need to, is there any dispute that we're talking about 875 South Monday?
No, I just want to make sure that the witness knows it, too. I want to see if he recognizes it. Have
All right.
Have I
Proceed.
shown you any photographs, sir?
No.
Proceed.
One, please.
Your Honor, in the interest of time, we would stipulate that he knows the location, and that this is the location, not the same location.
Ms. Clark, any dispute about this?
I'd like to make sure that we're
All right.
talking. I haven't shown this witness any
Okay,
photographs.
Okay, okay.
Your Honor, I believe we're going to need to check some cabling systems. We are not getting any signal to the court.
All right, Ms. Clark, why don't you just physically show
Show the
Mr. Kalen
photograph.
the photograph? Thank you.
Show you this photograph that's been previously marked as People's 86.
Yes.
Okay, do you recognize what's shown there?
The townhouse on Bundy?
Okay, is that the townhouse that you were describing that you were going to move into with Nicole?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, did you ever move into that townhouse, sir?
No.
Why not?
I was going to move in, and I moved in at OJ's
Why not? Why'd you do that?
because OJ asked me to go to his house. I mean, it was part of the deal. I went there instead of moved in with Nicole. There's,
What did the defendant say to you about moving into his house instead of Nicole's condominium or townhouse?
I mean, we talked about it, and it was sort of like the right thing to do, that not to be in the same house, that I should probably go there, and OJ offered me his place. It was free, and he said, when you can stay as long as you want, and when it's time for you to go, he let me know.
Now, so did he indicate anything to you with respect to what he thought of the fact that you'd be living in the same house with Nicole Brown?
Well, they were trying to work things out, and I said that I understood. It wasn't, I thought maybe I shouldn't be a guy in the house, and I would go there. Kind of like that.
Did he indicate to you in some way that he thought it was inappropriate for you to be in the same house with her? Or you didn't like it?
Well, didn't like, but it probably wouldn't be right.
And why wouldn't it be right?
I don't know the answer.
Were you lovers?
No.
Just friends?
Friends?
Did you tell the defendant that?
Oh, he knew we were friends.
But he still didn't want you living in that house?
I guess, I mean, I didn't, and I guess not.
Okay. And so he offered to let you stay at his house on Rockingham, is that?
Yes.
Do you recall the address on Rockingham, where he lived?
360 North Rockingham.
And what was your arrangement with the defendant concerning what kind of rent you'd be paying him to stay at his place on Rockingham?
I offered rent, and OJ said he didn't want my money, and that was it.
So he let you stay there for free?
Yes.
And did you then move into his house on Rockingham?
I did. It was kind of like that same day. I was kind of like, oh, where do I go? And then I went there.
And so did you pack up and move all of your things into some place, some area in Rockingham?
What was that?
Did you pack up and move all of your things over to Rockingham?
Yes.
Where in Rockingham did you stay? What part of the property?
It was a guest house by the pool.
And what did you have? Your area where you lived, what was yours? What part of that house was yours?
Oh, I had the guest house that had like an office area and a bathroom. And there's like a little stove and all that I didn't use, but there was a kitchen area by the tennis courts.
So you actually, at the Bundy location, you would have had just a bedroom and a bathroom, is that right?
Yes.
And at the Rockingham location, and you were going to pay rent there at the Bundy location, is
Yes.
that right?
Yes.
How much were you going to pay Nicole to stay at the Bundy location with
It's
her?
the same.
$450 to $500? Is that yes?
Yes.
And you went to stay with the defendant at Rockingham, and you had your bedroom, the office, the bathroom, and access to a kitchen out at the pool house for free.
Yes.
When did you move in there on Rockingham?
January
Of '94?
of '94.
Now, were you an aspiring actor back then, sir?
Yes.
And you still are?
Yes.
Did you think it might be advantageous to you to stay with the defendant and get to know him for your acting career?
I didn't think that. I never asked for anything like that. I was getting rent-free, so we didn't ask anything.
Did you
About
think that your friendship with him, your acquaintanceship, especially living on his property, might send acting roles your way?
I didn't think that. I never asked. I was hopefully getting things on my own. But
So
if he'd bring it up on his own. I don't think we're going for the same parts. I
What I'm getting at, sir, is this. You hoped it might help, but you weren't going to ask him for help. Is that right?
He could have helped me. I mean, if it happened, he was someone that could help me, yes.
So I said if you mark people's
129.
I'm sorry?
129.
29.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor, we ask you to step down and take a look at the board or your pointer with you. Bring your pointer with you. Have I ever shown you this, sir? Have you ever seen this board before?
No.
All right, why don't you take a moment to look at it, acquaint yourself with it, and ask a few questions.
Okay. Stand here.
First of all, can you tell us, in general, what property does this board depict?
This is the Rockingham, 360 Rockingham.
Right. And can you tell us, down here, there's a box that's encircled in red, marked Kalen's room. Do you recognize the location shown there?
Yes.
And was that the location where you were staying at 360 Rockingham?
Yes, it is.
Now, there are two photographs that have arrows to that box. See these photographs,
Yes.
sir? And for the record, I apologize to the court, I should have had labeled, but the photograph to the left as you face the diagram should be A, and the photograph to the right should be B.
All right. We'll mark that afterward.
And I'll move on, sir. All right. In photograph A, can you tell us what's shown in that photograph?
In A,
Yes.
this is the front entrance to the room.
Those doors?
These doors. This would be how I'd get in. My bed. This is the office. This is a dresser, TV.
Now, for the record, when the witness said office, he gestured to the room just past the bed. When he indicated the front entrance, he indicated shuttered doors that are shown in the photograph. I think the rest is self-explanatory.
Yes.
If you open these shuttered doors and walk straight out, so can you tell us what you go to, what area?
Okay, there's cement here, 3 steps that, I think 3, that lead up, and you walk straight up, you kind of hit the pool. And left is the main house, and right would be the other guest houses.
And with respect to photograph B, sir, can you tell us what's shown in that photograph?
This shot was taken like from the office spot area. The bathroom, air conditioner, a bed, same bed, and this is like where the phone is and
Nightstand?
nightstand.
All right. Is there anything on the wall above that nightstand?
Above the nightstand,
Right. Was there when you were living there?
yeah, a picture. It was right about here. It would have been.
For the record, when the witness says right about here, he's referring to an area just outside to the right of the photograph, just outside the boundary of the photograph on the yellow portion of the diagram. And when he indicated bathroom, he gestured to the room in the photograph depicted past the bed again, where there's a white cabinet and a mirror visible. Okay, and you indicate that would have been taken from the vantage point of the office, facing towards
This
the back?
picture, yes.
That's photograph B. And you indicated, oh yeah, and the air conditioner, for the record, Your Honor, is indicated, I think it's self-explanatory, on the photograph, right above the lamp.
And these are glasses.
And for the record, the witness suggested the 2 doors on the wall.
On the far wall, yes.
Yes,
Outside
thank
the
you.
stove.
Now, if you can tell us, sir, the room as shown in photograph B, is that the condition of the room when you lived there? Did it look like that?
Yeah, my dressers aren't there.
Were there
Right.
dressers there when you lived there?
This dresser and the nightstand, and then I had some stuff.
And for the record, where you indicated you had some stuff?
I had like a dresser here.
If for the record, the witness is gesturing to, on photograph B, the wall that would be just to the right of the doors. Okay. And did you keep clothing or things on and in that dresser?
Yes. There, in the closets.
Go ahead, have a seat. May I show the rest of the jury's work?
You may.
To ask you.
Come
Can
down.
you tell us, or to whom the other units belong behind your guest unit as depicted on this diagram?
Come
Yeah.
down. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
What was the question?
Yes, are there other units in that same, along the same corridor here
Yes.
that are behind yours?
Right. Next to mine was Arnell's room.
Did you have a common wall with her room?
Yes.
All right. And behind hers, was there another unit?
Not behind, it was on the side. It would connect, and it would be, it says Arnell's, but that would be the maids.
So this end unit that says Arnell's room should actually be maid's room?
Yes.
To your knowledge, is there another room for maids inside the main residence?
Yes.
All right. As of June 12th, 1994, sir, who was living in the main house and in the guest units?
OJ in the main house, Arnell and Arnell's room, and that's my room, and Gigi off and on.
Gigi off and on in that end room that's at this moment marked as Arnell's room.
Yes.
All right, if you can, sir, if you come out of your room, out of those shuttered doors that are shown in these photographs A and B,
Yes.
can you describe what is outside your door when you step out?
My first steps when I
Right.
It's first steps out are the cement, and I would have to go upstairs to left or right. I could walk to Arnell's room from me to right, out of the doors, and left, or go up the stairs and I'd go left. I'd go into the main house back doors. Straight ahead is the pool, like a barbecue pit there, and
Now, what if you went straight through the pool area?
okay.
Where would you come out?
So if it goes straight through, there's a path, I'd follow it, and I'd go up to the front yard,
And is there a side yard here that you would walk through?
right here.
And is this path, is that accurate? There's a path there that takes you through the yard?
Yes.
And where does that path take you to? Where does it end?
It goes into the main driveway.
Okay. Oh, have a seat, sir. All right, so you indicated Gigi. Who's Gigi?
Gigi was a housekeeper.
Did she live in on the property?
It was off and on. She had a husband, I'm sure she still does, and she'd go to where he was at, sometimes stay there, sometimes not.
So at times she would spend the night on the property and other times not?
Yes.
Was there any other maid that lived in the property?
At that time?
Yes.
No. Just Gigi.
I stand corrected. Counsel's right. As of June the 12th, 1994.
June the 12th was Gigi.
All right, at some point, direct your attention to May of 1994. Mid to late May, sir. Can you tell us whether you began looking for another place to live?
Yes.
And why was that?
I was periodically looking for places to live.
Did you have a conversation with the defendant about his situation with Nicole Brown?
Yes.
And what did he tell you about that?
About my living arrangement? Or?
Right. About your living arrangement and his situation with Nicole.
There's different things.
In mid to late May, did the defendant ask you to start looking for a place to live?
Did he ask me to look? No.
Did he indicate anything to you with respect to his relationship with Nicole?
Their relationship was over?
He told you they were broken up for good?
Yes.
And that was mid to late May of 94?
Yes.
And did you discuss moving in with someone else around that same time?
I was just moving. I mean, I don't know, it was someone else. I was looking at some places and not looking, and
Mr. Kalin, did you have a discussion with Grant Kramer, your friend, about moving into his apartment with him mid to late May?
no, Grant asked me to move in, but I wasn't going to move in with him.
You weren't going to?
No, not with him.
Who were you going to move in with?
I was looking at a place on San Vicente and 3rd, and it was single.
And did you actually make some arrangements to move there?
Yeah, I did the application. I knew the person that was renting it out.
And when was it that you made that application?
I think it was in May.
Okay. Had you made application to live anywhere else before that?
There was another place that was off another road in Brentwood that was pending with someone. It was someone's house, and there was it was sharing the house with them.
And when did you make application to live there?
That was, I think, also in May.
At any time prior to May, at any time prior to May, did you make application to move out and into some other location?
Not applications, but I was, looking. I didn't want to be a pain there.
Didn't the defendant ask you to come and stay with him?
Yes.
Then were you uncomfortable living there?
No, it was another maid that was saying things.
Another maid
Yes, before this.
that didn't want you living there?
She would say things. Do you want to know her name?
Yes.
Michelle.
Did you have some run-in with her?
No. She would say, OJ wants you out, but I never believe in you. You should go, Cato. I said, okay. And then OJ would say, I'll tell you when to go, not Michelle.
So she was urging you to leave.
Since day one.
Do you know why?
Do I know why?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think she just wanted the house.
Wanted the house?
Well, I don't think she wanted someone new there. I can't.
Did she
Answer.
clean? I'm sorry. Did she clean your room?
Yes. Sometimes she'd come in and would just show up.
Did you ever ask her to clean your room?
No.
All right. Directing your attention to June the 12th.
Yes.
Can you tell us who was in the house, June the 12th of 1994? Can you tell us who was in the house on that date?
On June 12th?
Yes.
Just myself and OJ.
Was Gigi there?
She was not there.
How about Arnell?
I didn't see her now.
Okay. And Arnell, of course, we're referring to the defendant's daughter?
Yes.
Do you recall what time it was when you first saw the defendant on the date of June the 12th, 1994?
I thought it was like in the afternoon, about 2:30.
And where was it that you happened to see him at that time?
It was in the kitchen nook area.
Did you have a conversation with him?
Yes.
What did you talk about?
We talked about he went golfing that day. It was a golf game. And then what else he did, how he did in golf, and he played cards.
Did he tell you whether he won or lost?
In golf or cards?
Golf?
I don't remember.
Cards?
I don't know if he won or lost.
Okay. Did he mention to you any plans that he had for later on that day?
Yes.
And what was that?
There was a recital, the dance recital of Sydney's daughter with Nicole.
And what time did he plan to go to that?
5 o'clock recital.
Did he talk to you or mention anything to you about Nicole during that conversation?
They weren't together.
How did that come up?
It was conversation. I mean, I was reading a paper and it would come up about just Nicole, that their relationship was over.
Do Do you recall how that happened to come up? How come you were talking about him and Nicole being through?
I think it just came up about he was going to recital. I think it had to do with Paula, because I think OJ just wanted to go to the recital on his own, and I think she wanted to go. And I think it just came up like that.
Did Paula call at some point in that afternoon during that conversation?
Gosh, I think so. I can't recollect it. I think so.
Who do you mean when you talk about Paula? Who is that?
OJ's girlfriend?
Paula Barbieri, is that?
Yes.
Did you have a conversation with the defendant about Paula Barbieri?
I think she wanted to go, and that was it. That I think OJ just wanted to make it kind of a family thing, just to be on his own.
Okay. Did he tell you that Paula was upset because she wanted to go to the recital?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
She wanted to show Nicole that she was the defendant's girl?
Sustained.
No, is this what the defendant told you?
Rephrase the question.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. What did the defendant tell you that Paula said to him?
I think she was upset that she wasn't going to go. Yeah.
1220, Your Honor.
1220.
Evidence code section.
No, I know. I'm thinking. I'm going to sustain the objection.
Can I be heard?
Sure. How about later?
Okay. You want to-
Proceed.
Well, I'm going to get past it. How late are we going to go?
Till you feel comfortable. Is this a good point?
I guess so. So that we can work this through, because then...
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a recess at this point. Please remember my admonition to you: don't discuss the case amongst yourselves, don't form any opinions about the case, don't conduct any deliberation until the matter has been submitted to you. Do not allow anybody to communicate with you with regards to the case. Mr. Kalin, I'm going to excuse you until tomorrow morning at 8:45. Do not discuss your testimony with anybody except for the attorneys. Do you understand the order, sir?
Yes.
All right, 8:45. See you tomorrow. All right, you may step down, sir. All right, counsel will argue that issue as soon as we excuse the jury. All right, we'll stand in recess. Thank you.